Orleans Pelicans.
Oh, and blocked from behind by Williamson. Taken by Murphy. Throws it up the floor to Jose. Stop, pop, right corner, three. What a sequence that was.
Visit 1045ESPN.com for a complete list of games you'll hear on 1045 FM, 1049 FM, and 98.1 HD2.
Hey, dunks it! Oh, my heavens!
The New Orleans Pelicans are on 1045 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
Insurance companies have teams of professionals to fight your claim. If you want to know what your case is really worth, I'm Spencer Callahan. I'd like to help.
Spencer Callahan is the one to see. Call 387-2323.
LA filing number 16-7970.
WNXX Jackson, KNXX Donaldsonville, and WDGL HD2 Baton Rouge. This hour brought to you by Spencer Callahan Injury Lawyers. LA 21-12681. Offices in Baton Rouge.
Good morning. It's 7 a.m. here on Thursday, October 31st. Today on this Halloween Thursday, you can expect rain throughout the day with a high of around 85 in hour one of today's show. We'll talk about the top games coming up this weekend in college football. You can follow us on Twitter or Instagram at OTB_ESPN and watch us on YouTube at the 1045 ESPN channel. Hour number one of Off the Bench, live from the Mercedes-Benz Baton Rouge studios, starts now.
Welcome into Off the Bench, presented by All-Star Toyota.
Ooh, you're scary.
We're bringing you the spookiest sports talk in town. With Jacob Hester and T-Bob Hebert.
Terrifying and terrible.
Live from the haunted Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio, here's Jacob Hester and T-Bob Hebert.
Yo, and welcome in to OTB here on this Halloween morning. Jacob Hester, Alondra, Taylor, no T-Bob Hebert. He is out. And again, says he'll be back on Monday, potentially could add a day. So we'll expect to see him on Tuesday. We'll get that message about 11:58 p.m. on Sunday night. But hopefully our boy and the fam are having a great time in Disney. Alondra, Taylor, how we doing? How we feeling?
Good. I'm excited that it's Halloween. I'm just going to act like I'm okay.
Yeah. When I walked in, I was like, hey, what's up? I was like,
Hi.
hi. Uh-oh.
I went to Whiskey Myers last night.
Yeah, I thought, look.
So,
Yeah.
I'm
And
okay.
I thought honestly, I was like, oh man, there's a couple things, either that or you had to get up really early for one of those crazy 4:30 workouts.
No, that's tomorrow. There was no way I was getting up for a 4:30 in the morning
Yeah.
workout today.
Yeah.
I don't even think I'll go to the block today, but
It's okay. You deserve a day. Tay, how we feeling?
We are feeling good. Unfortunately, guys, no Halloween costume contest this year.
what?
I know.
Okay. That's shocking.
I know it is. I found out sometime last week.
Because, well, I guess we haven't heard. That's true.
Yeah.
I guess we typically would have maybe talked it out during one of the breaks.
So my uncle always puts it on. He's in town tonight, but like he literally just got home yesterday from New York. So he's not throwing the big party he normally is. So everybody's coming to my house and literally
Oh, so it's your fault.
My wife and mom are probably just handing out candy and stuff. No, I was willing to like salvage what was left of this great holiday, Jake. He wasn't throwing the party at his house. I was like, look, we can have a backup plan. We can come to my house, hang out a little bit, roast some weenies on the back porch. It's going to be a good time.
Roast some weenies on the back porch.
What were y'all going to be?
So that was the thing.
Oh,
About 2
okay.
weeks out, we had about 2 or 3 costume
They
ideas.
go
and,
all out.
and I was like, and Victoria's like, we haven't heard like when this party is and everything. I was like, let me call my uncle. So I call him. He's like, yeah, we're not going to be able to do it this year. So before we got anything ready, we found out.
What is Harlow going to be?
A ballerina.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, she's going to be a ballerina.
I can't deal.
Yeah, so tonight is a little weird for us. We have high school football with Jack. So Jackson, of course, he plays at U High. They're playing Madison Prep tonight for the district title, as Taylor laid out yesterday. So I think I'm going to go with him. So he has somebody there for support. But you can't ask the brothers and sister to, not go trick-or-treating. So I think Katie's going to have the much more difficult job of tackling trick-or-treating with the 4 younger siblings there. So we've got a Mike Wazowski. We've got a ballerina. We have Memphis, who has this mask that has just 50 different, it lights up. It's got 50 different patterns or something it can do. Of course, I left it on the lightning bolt up.
Yeah.
I have no idea what Knox is going to be, but he is the one that will go into, we have so many costumes because we have, we have a lot of children and a lot of Halloweens over the years. They call it their costume chamber, and it's this huge wooden box that Katie has in the garage. And every year, if they don't decide what they want to be, they go and they dig through the costume chamber. And Knox is my probably most creative. He'll come out with about 6 different ones pieced together, and I don't know what to call it, but that's what he'll be wearing tonight. So
I like it.
We'll see. We will certainly. Do we have any plans to do anything? I mean, are you Tay you're going to be at the house handing out candy? Are you going to dress up at least? Oh, this is sad.
I don't have anything because I was like, if we're not doing the contest, if there's not a chance for me to win, why am I going to go all out and get the costume? Didn't do it.
I mean, you're a Cowboys fan. That's what you do. You show up and you don't win.
I could just be a depressed Cowboys fan, wear a jersey with a scowl on my face the whole night. That's always a throwback option.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I'm driving in today. I'm like, okay, we'll get started on the show. I was like, you know what? This is a big day, though.
I know.
This is a big day for Tay and the family. He's going to have 12 minutes of Halloween content.
I am excited. I love Halloween, guys. I'm trying to decide.
The rest of your family couldn't live up to it.
Yeah, that's messed up.
I made sure the outdoor TV was working good because I don't use it a ton.
Yeah.
I was making sure it was working last night. I was like, what scary movie are we going to put on outside? It's full of vibes, guys. Now, the rain might put a damper on things. Hopefully not. But
yeah. Don't put something too crazy on your outdoor TV.
No. Last night, Victoria had us watch Scared Shrekless. She said, can I pick the Halloween movie? Right. And I said, sure. Little did I know it's going to be a 40-minute Shrek Halloween movie.
All right, well, yeah, you said she could pick it, though.
Yeah.
Alondra, after a fun night last night?
No, so, my neighbors don't have their daughter this week, or they don't have her for Halloween, so I was just going to go trick-or-treating with them, but, no, I probably won't do anything. I have to do AFR today. Yeah, so I'm pulling a double.
That is Halloween-like. My God.
I know, it's super scary.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. Tomorrow, I have to do OTB, and then I have to go set up for Hunt Show, and then I have to come back and do AFR. So.
Where's Moose?
I don't know.
Today and tomorrow, Musso will be on a bachelor trip.
Oh, I thought you were about to say The Bachelor.
I guess bye week. It's actually probably an LSU fan. Makes a lot of sense. I was about to say, what's up with everybody taking these holidays off, but it's actually good planning.
Yeah.
Can't really hate on that. All right. Well, Tay, you disappointed me, but you know what? It's not on you. It's on your family and your uncle.
That's true. I appreciate
What's your uncle's name?
Milton.
Knowlton? We're looking at you. This is your fault.
I feel like he made that up.
No, well, I mean, we call him Milt. I'll show you his contact in my phone.
Wait, his name's Knowlton.
No, Milton.
Oh, they said Knowlton.
No, Milton.
I was like, that's a weird name.
We call him Milt.
Okay.
I still didn't think Milton was.
And we call him Milt. I'm like, what the hell?
No.
What? Okay, Milton.
Yes.
Okay.
He's like, I can show you.
Yeah, we're looking at
you.
It's
a family name on my mom's side.
Yeah, well, okay.
Shout out Milton.
Shout out Milton. Except this one time.
Yeah.
When you ruined Halloween. All right. Let's go ahead and get this thing started.
It's time to get to work, courtesy of Tiger Labor and Staffing, where they can help take care of screening, training, payroll, and more. Now, for starters.
All right, when it comes to temp labor in Baton Rouge, they have got you covered. Of course, we're talking about Tiger Labor and Staffing. Provides safety, trained, reliable staff on demand. 225-275-8437 is that number. They are already there waiting on you over on Florida Boulevard. So you can find all that information at tigerlabor.com. All right, so one of the things that did catch my attention, and it does feel like it is heavy right now because, LSU's on a bye week, so not a lot of game talk. So in the LSU football world, what's the biggest story? And I think and Tate, you can disagree with me here, but I think it's the Bryce Underwood stuff right now. And we talked about it yesterday. And we talked about, Dave Portnoy from Barstool and ponying up and $5 million from Michigan. He lives 30 minutes or plays 30 minutes from their campus currently right now. Now, I'm going to throw this out there, and I want y'all to tell me if y'all think this is a positive or a negative for LSU. 4-star Michigan quarterback commit Carter Smith, ESPN's number 3 dual threat passer in the class of 2025, has pulled his commitment from Michigan. Do we think that is something that he's like, the inevitable is going to happen? Or do we think that's, you know what? You want to keep throwing $5 million at Bryce Underwood? I know I'm not the number 1 overall guy, but I'm the number 3 dual threat quarterback in this class. I'm going to go look elsewhere.
It's not a positive for LSU because, let's say Bryce Underwood is not a silent commit to them, and let's say this has nothing to do with it. Best case scenario for LSU, it makes Michigan all that more desperate to get Bryce Underwood, so they're going to try that much harder to do whatever they can to get him into this signing class. So whichever way you slice it, it is not good news. Another story had popped up. A guy that is really close to Bryce Underwood is an LSU commit, Derek Meadows, 5-star wide receiver. He committed over the summer. There's rumors that Michigan might actually make a push for him as well to try to get a package deal.
All right.
It's a recruiting battle.
It is. And recruiting is – look, we don't talk a lot of recruiting, honestly. Y'all know that. We don't talk a lot of recruiting. We'll have different people on that are experts in the field, and they'll kind of give us the lay of the land, and we typically react more when they sign with LSU, and then we start to maybe place them where they're going to fit in the hierarchy of the depth chart and all those things. But, this is the number 1 player. This is the number 1 quarterback. You have become a quarterback factory. Never thought we'd say that, but that's what you are right now. You have, 2 of the top 5 currently. Top 5 is always tough because there's guys that have done it at a higher level for longer, but currently playing, you've got 2 of the 5, without a doubt, most recognizable quarterback names in the NFL with Jaden Daniels and Joe Burrow. So, I don't know, man. I this can be 2 different things. It can be a quarterback saying, okay, well, I've heard what y'all have heard, and I'm not going to stick around, and I'm certainly not signing. Or it could be somebody who's frustrated saying, you know what, you want to flirt with that quarterback over there, right? I'm over here. I'm getting no love. My name's not even coming up in the conversation. I'm going to go look elsewhere. I don't know, Alondra, what do you think?
I think that I don't know, I just feel like Bryce Underwood has been so committed to LSU, literally and figuratively. But
a year.
Yeah, and he's always said, the money thing doesn't really matter as much to me as, the development and stuff like that. And what is Michigan going to do for a quarterback that LSU can't? You know what I mean? So, I don't know. I think we were talking yesterday how there's kind of a lot of instability at Michigan right now. So maybe he's just I don't know what's really going on with this staff. I don't know what's going on with the players that are here and the weapons that I might get later on down the road. So I don't know if it's a huge concern for LSU, but it's definitely something to keep an eye out for.
The thing I always fall back on, since Sharon Moore was named head coach, Bryce Underwood lives 30 minutes from their campus and has never taken an official visit there. Yeah. It's been a year and a half now. Because, you knew this was going to happen, and he said a year and a half to go visit Michigan 30 minutes away. He hasn't done it yet. Now, again, what did they say? The last 3 months are the most important months of any recruiting battle, but just, going back to, you were talking about it yesterday, Jake, this guy's leading the recruiting class, right? He's trying to get other guys on board with him. If I had to take a guess, I would say it's still LSU. But when names pop up like Michigan, not just that they're a big school, but they're his home state school as well. It is a little cause for concern. But I I don't think it's a doomsday scenario quite yet.
Yeah.
I would, if I'm LSU and I can get the money, if the money's not the issue and I can get it close, which that's, the reports are that they will be right there with Michigan. I mean, if staying close to home is not the most important thing to Bryce Underwood, which to Alondra's point does not seem like it is, I'm laying out what you know you'll have around you. And we talked about it yesterday. Just in the NFL right now, all right, Jamar Chase, you got Justin Jefferson, you got Malik Neighbors, and you have Brian Thomas Jr. 4 of the top 10 receivers in the NFL. Okay, well, they all came from LSU. Obvious. They're all from Louisiana, though. They are players that grew up in this state, went to LSU, and LSU is always going to have receivers. We could go back, like as far as you want to go back, we can do that. During my time, we had Dwayne Bowe and Buster Davis, first-round picks. T-Bob had Odell and Jarvis. I mean, we could go on and on and on with the receivers and some of the best, in their current, like when they were current in the NFL, like in their prime, they were some of the best in the league. And it's year after year after year. I am selling that. Hey, Bryce, I don't know a whole lot of receivers that come from Michigan. Yeah, we could do some research and we could dig them up. I know Nico Collins played at Michigan, right? It ain't this. It ain't those 4 guys right now. And you know what you're going to have? You're going to have that at all times. So that would be my biggest selling point to him. If the money is not the thing, even if it is, the reports are LSU is close, I would sell Bryce Underwood on who you're going to have around you, right? You've got top offensive linemen that are committed. You're going to be protected. We talk about receiver, right? You get running backs. You got young running backs on this team that look like they're going to potentially be stars down the road. So certainly something we'll all pay attention to. I do think LSU still has some advantages there. It is tough to beat home. I realize that as somebody that's from Louisiana, stayed in Louisiana, played at LSU. But I do think LSU has advantages in the recruitment of Bryce Underwood. All right, we will step away for the first time in about 14 minutes from now. Ben Hartsock will join us. Of course, Ben played at Ohio State, my colleague at Sirius XM. Him and I are actually doing the Michigan-Oregon game this weekend, so we'll break down that. We'll break down the Buckeyes' big game against Penn State, LSU bye week. So like Tay said in the open, we will go across the country, talk about some of the biggest games going on, and we'll do it all here on OTB.
Off the bench.
All right, go to PECbuilt.com. PECbuilt.com. That is the website for Pinnacle Exterior Construction, pools, outdoor living spaces, any kind of fence, bulkheads. They do it all. They do it residential and also commercial, right? They build the spaces, you build the memories. Something else that they can do that we talk about all the time is the artificial turf space that you can put. Now, like if you own a business and you're like, hey, we want this area to be kind of a family area and we want to make sure that the kids can play and it's not muddy and we got this turf and it looks nice and it's always set up. Well, you can do that. If you want a putting green at your home, right, set that up in the backyard. Certainly can come in, they can do that. If you want a space to work out in your backyard, like, right, you don't have to worry about the rain. You don't have to worry about the mud. You've got this nice, incredible space. They can do that for you as well. PECbuilt.com.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
The best kept secret in town is out. Discover Tallulah at the Renaissance Hotel on Bluebonnet.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief. Our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram can get you in a new 2024 Ram 1500 truck for only $32,898. $32,898 for a new Ram 1500 truck. All new Bayou automotive vehicles come with a...
Got me doing things I'll never do. If you ain't been, I'm telling you, I'm sprung.
Back to sports talk. Maybe. Off the bench.
All right, welcome back in. OTB here on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Man, I forgot it was an R&B Thursday. That's giving me a little pep in the step. All right, let's go around the room real quick. Bryce Underwood, does he end up as an LSU Tiger? And I realize this is October the 31st. You still have about 35 days until he has to make that decision officially. Alondra?
I think Bryce Underwood ends up an LSU Tiger,
Okay.
yes. I'm pretty confident in it.
All right. Tay-Tay?
It's a fun conversation, but yeah, I think he'll be a Tiger.
I do think that this late push from Michigan is real. I don't think there's any question about it. And again, I understand the home portion of it. Like, I was committed somewhere else. Now, once LSU offered to kind of change the game for me, I was committed somewhere else. But once that offer comes in, it's like, man, it's home.
Where?
I get Texas.
Jake.
For about 6 months. Yeah, at least 6 months.
Oh, should have never told me that.
And then Coach Saban's like, hey, like, we're really going to offer you. Like, it's an offer we want you to accept. It's like, okay, hey, Mac, my dog. And let me tell you, every time I interview Mac, who's, still obviously the coach for North Carolina, it's the first thing he starts with. Every time.
Yeah.
So, sorry about that, Alondra. But like I said, like, the intrigue of home, I could not, and I grew up an LSU fan. I couldn't deny that. I don't know if Bryce Underwood grew up a Michigan fan. So I do understand there's that. But to your point, Alondra, like, he hasn't been there yet. It doesn't feel like he's one of those guys that's always said, man, I'm going to play at the big house. I'm going to wear the winged helmet. It doesn't feel like that where I felt like that.
Yeah, somebody in the chat, Christian in the Bayou Ford YouTube chat, had a good point. He said, it seems very much like when Brian Kelly had, quote unquote, to pursue Arch Manning, to say that they at least tried. And I think that's a pretty good comp, but I don't know, like,
it's not a bad comp. Now, NIL's changed things.
It has, for sure.
It's changed things, but it's not I understand what he's saying. Like, yeah, it'd be egregious if you didn't.
Yeah. I don't know. I just don't feel like Bryce Underwood really cares for Michigan, if I'm reading everything that he says correctly.
All right. Again, we got about 30, 35 days before we will officially find out, and I'm sure this will have a lot of rumors, a lot of whispers about which way Bryce Underwood is leaning. And again, this is not the biggest recruiting show, but this is certainly going to be something that is big news for LSU football, as he is the #1 player in the country. All right, speaking of LSU, we all know they are on a bye week, but this is an opportunity for them to get healthy. First bye week, you don't do that. First bye week, it's early. You still want to go out there, have a physical nature to your practice, and make sure you're not taking your foot off the throttle too much. Now, in this second bye week, I do feel like it's going to be important for LSU to get healthy. I mean, Tate, I know Dellinger is somebody, he's got the high ankle. I know he's a big guy. So, typically a high ankle, like a skill player, it's like, he's out. He's out. But with being a lineman, maybe there's, some potential. Did Brian Kelly mention that yesterday? Or 2 days? What's
he
today?
didn't
2 days ago.
mention, timetable, but he said, we're going to get him back on the field as soon as we can, work through it, see where he is pain tolerance-wise. That's got to be a good sign going into a bye week because you got 10 days, you don't have 4. So, I mean, it seems like he's trending in the right direction. And, he wasn't too concerned with it. Like, people asked him, if Paul Mabinga's going to step up, he goes, Mabinga looked good, and, but he went right back to Garrett.
He did pass protect really well.
Yeah, and he went back to Garrett Dellinger, though, pretty quickly. So, he seemed like he was confident that he was going to play.
And it's funny, I know somebody's in their car right now just rolled their eyes when I said he pass protected well because they're like, yeah, okay, we know that. We want them to run block. Well, a couple of other injuries that I'm thinking about here in this time. Caden Durham. Caden Durham's not been more than 80% in weeks. Now, sometimes we forget that because he's out there. He's too gritty to be pretty, and he's playing. But all our baseball fans will know this and know exactly what I'm talking about. Like, he wears the rubber shield on the end of his cleat, just like a pitcher does, right? So he doesn't wear it out and it drags on the dirt. He wears that because he's got some issues. He's got, foot, I believe it's toe issues.
His toes are dislocated or something.
I think look, balance for a running back, that's crucial. So hopefully Caden Durham, I'm sure he has been really light at practice this week, getting him back to close to 100%. Because even though there's a lot in the run game right now that we could sit here, we could break down, think of South Carolina when Caden Durham did it by himself for a lot of it, right? We always talk about you get what the offensive line blocks, but, man, you got to get that extra. It is on you. They block 3, you got to get 6. And he can do that. He takes games over. Got to get that guy healthy. And I think one of the most important players to get healthy on this team is C.J. Daniels. He's different than every other receiver. He's the most aggressive coming back to the football, and I think he's got the strongest hands.
Well, and what were we talking about the other day? Like, you don't have a ton of underneath stuff in this offense. It's a lot down the field. When you've thrown the short passes, it's kind of been C.J. Daniels and Mason Taylor. Like, like you mentioned, he adds another element to this offense that the other guys just don't bring. And, he's long, he's physical. That is the guy I was going to bring up if you did not bring him up. C.J. Daniels, 100%. The offense is just different when he's in there.
There's no question about it. And when he came out like this last week against A&M, like there was like a group of coaches that they were sitting there talking. So he runs out to go warm up to see if he can go. And every coach stopped their conversation and went down to where he was warming up to see if he could go. That spoke loudly to me. Like, I already had my own assessment of it. But when I saw the way that it happened, like coaches talking, shooting the bull, he comes out immediately, like without even saying anything, they all go down to see him work out. And he only went, I think, 11 plays, if I charted that correctly. He gave it a go. You know why. You know the stage. Now with the bye week, that's somebody you have to get healthy. He's different for you.
Well, and we always talk about how good LSU receivers are, and I don't think this year's any different. Thing is, though, you're not quite as deep this year as you were in years past, right? Like, you don't have 2 stud first-round receivers with a lot of quality depth behind them. I mean, you got Lacey, you got Daniels, you got Aaron Anderson, and Xavion Thomas. Chris Hilton kind of still working back into the fold. it's really those 5 guys. I mean, you had Kyle Parker. He's out for the year with an injury. I mean, you've seen Shelton Sampson in there at times, and he still looks really raw. Outside of that, outside of your first 5 guys and then 6 if you include Mason Taylor, you don't have a ton behind them. I mean, you're 1 or 2 injuries away from really kind of being in a bad spot and having to throw a guy in there before he's ready. So, not just C.J. Daniels. The health of any of the wide receivers is important right now.
Yeah, and O'Daniger on the chat makes a good point. I agree with it. Nuss is more comfortable with C.J. on the field.
Yeah.
I think he's got 2 safety blankets.
Him and Mason.
I think it's him and Mason.
Yeah.
And I think you can tell that.
Yeah. So we were, so Hanny and Richard Dixon, they do a podcast every Monday where they break down film of each game. And
Say Dick Dixon.
He's really good at it. And I produce it. So, it seems like C.J. Daniels is just always open.
Yeah.
And there was one play, I think it was when Nuss threw the pick. No, he tried to throw it to Chris Hilton, and that was when he jumped a little early, and it was incomplete. And C.J. Daniels was, wide open, and he even, threw his hands up I thought it was coming to me. Because he looked at him, but he just didn't go for it. He wanted to put the nail in the coffin, and it just didn't work out.
And that might have done it, too.
Yeah.
That might have done it. That might have been the one that put it too far out of reach, and we all know how it played out. And on that note, we'll step away, and when we come back, we'll be joined by Ben Hartsock, former Buckeye, and my colleague at SiriusXM to break down some of the biggest games of the week in college football. We'll do it right here on OTB.
Off the bench.
All right, go to GoTommies.com, G-E-A-U-X, Tommies, with a Y.com. Once you get to the website, of course, we're talking about Tommy's windows, doors, and siding. And once you get to that website, you can find a full list of services. You can find testimonials of past clients. You can find a gallery of work that they've done here in this community. Now, the thing I always tell you is don't think that's all they can do. Now, you'll be impressed with it. It is going to make you want to have them come out to your home, to your business, work on your project. But the thing is, they can do anything that you kind of have in your mind, right? If you've got a custom job when it comes to, of course, windows, doors, and siding, well, they can make it happen. And if they can't, it can't be done. That's just the kind of work, that kind of reliable service you're going to get, and just these great ideas from Tommy and the team. So go to the website today. Again, G-E-A-U-X, GoTommies.com.
The only thing scary about the deals at Bayou Ford is if you miss out on them, like $15,000 off F-150. Bayou Ford has $15,000 off Ford F-150. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a complimentary 7-year powertrain warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
The club is full of ballers and their pockets full grown. And all you fellas leave your girl with her friends. Cause it's 11:30 and the club is jumping. Always say you got a girl, yeah, it's true.
Welcome back to the 9th-ranked morning sports show in America. Off the bench.
All right, welcome back in. OTB 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Very excited, as always, to talk to our next guest, somebody I'll be with this weekend in enemy territory for him, Mr. Ben Hartsock, my colleague at SiriusXM, former Ohio State Buckeye, played a decade in the league at the Yackle position. Benjamin, how we doing?
I appreciate you bringing me into a Destiny's Child song. I mean, that feels nice. I would have gone with "Can You Pay My Bills," but you know that was okay.
So today and every Thursday is R&B Thursday here on OTB, Benny.
All right.
I mean, you're from Atlanta. I feel like you can appreciate that.
Are you excited to go to Ann Arbor this weekend? Are we going to Zingerman?
I have never been to Ann Arbor. Obviously, I know you've been at least twice. Being a Buckeye. So, yeah, no, I've never been. Very excited because you and I, like full disclosure, we were supposed to be in Seattle this weekend.
Yeah.
But USC and Washington didn't really hold up their end of the deal. So now we're going to be in Ann Arbor. Jim Nagy, who we both know, Senior Bowl, you know, he went to Michigan. He told me something about, I think, Spots, Mr. Spots or something, a little cheesesteak spot.
I don't know about that. I think Zingerman's is kind of like the classic college deli that you got to go see. And I saw it. I went there a couple years ago. Got a Reuben. That's good. You know, kind of quintessential college. I like those kind of places.
You know, I didn't really think about going into Ann Arbor with a Buckeye until yesterday. We're gonna do okay. We're gonna be all right.
Listen, man. I'm all mixed up over what's happening with Ohio State, Michigan, obviously the past 3 years. And I was in Ann Arbor. It was my first time going to the Big House as a non-participant and stood there in the end zone next to John Jansen, Michigan legend, All-American voice of the team, and watched Michigan change Michigan's axis. Like it did. The earth started rotating a different direction that day. And then I went the next year, and Ohio State lost again, and so I thought it was me, and so I didn't go last season. I wanted to shake the juju off, and they still lost that one. So now I don't know what to make of my attendance or lack of attendance. I'm glad Michigan's down. I'm glad they've got all the turnovers, and I'm glad that they've got quarterbacks retiring midseason. I don't want guys to be injured, but I do want Michigan to be as weak as possible.
Yeah, well, you know, they struggle to throw the forward pass, Ben. And, like, Orji came in last week, and he ran the ball great, but he didn't even attempt a pass. You're right. Tuttle's retiring during the middle of the year. I don't have them competing in the fourth quarter in this game. I think Oregon's just too much offensively. And as much as I think of the Michigan defense, they're going to be on the field a ton. And I want this to be competitive because, again, like we change games because we wanted to go cover this one, but I just can't get there in the fourth quarter with, the game on the line and Michigan has the ball in their hand.
Yeah, you're right. Michigan's defense is the real deal with their Kenneth Grant and Mason Graham up on the front, and Will Johnson at the cornerback position, who's been in and out of the lineup with injury. But you're right; they can't play offense and defense. They can't be on the field for huge stretches. But I mean, we have watched every team this season that is in the front pack, that leading pack, the top five, have a loss or have looked human at times. Right before Texas ran through the Georgia buzzsaw, they looked pretty much spotless. Well, now they've got a spot. Every team has a wart, has a blemish, and Oregon's is more in the rear view. The Idaho game and the Boise State game doesn't look as much of a blemish because they're maybe the group of five team in the playoff this year.
Mm-hmm.
But I always say this in college football: you're better off to take your loss early in the season because you're given that pass of the team that's there in week 10, 12, whatever is never the same team as that's there week 1. So Oregon has that benefit right now, and they look to be playing their best football.
They certainly do. I mean, their struggles against Idaho, that was shocking. But, again, good teams find a way. They found a way. And then, like you said, the Boise State win looks even better now than it did at that time. Let's go to another game in the Big Ten. Let's go to the Buckeyes and Penn State because you and I do a lot of shows. We've talked about Penn State for a lot of years. And we've talked about Penn State, winning a lot of regular season games against the other teams, not named Ohio State and Michigan. I thought last week was impressive from Penn State to be able to, before the game, right? I can't say that to you, but, a big game for Penn State, to go to Camp Randall at night, be down at half, and then come back and put that one to bed in the fourth quarter. That was impressive to me. Now, I think this will be their biggest challenge to date. Do you think that Penn State is finally ready for a moment like this against your Buckeyes?
It's funny because I agree with you. Penn State went in into a tough environment. That game last week in Camp Randall had me spooked for Penn State. It was a 5 or 6 point spread, and I said, people forget that Wisconsin going to Camp Randall is a buzzsaw.
Yeah,
and Wisconsin the previous 2 weeks have been figuring things out. They put up a bunch of points on the offensive side of the ball, and they've held their three previous opponents to 0 touchdowns in 3 games. Now they were weaker opponents, but Penn State goes in and took care of business. But I feel like they're coming out of a game that they were down in the second half and saying, "Good job, attaboy." Well, so Beulah comes in, you lose your starting quarterback. I get that. A similar circumstance Ohio State had last week against Nebraska. And let me tell you something. If you listen to Ohio State Twitter, if you keep tabs on the local coverage of Ohio State, you would think they lost by 1 million to Nebraska last week. It's the opposite. It's not, hey, they played, they found a win against a good team. No, it's that, oh my gosh, the sky is falling. And so it's interesting how both teams had challenging games before, and the narrative coming out of it is the exact opposite. So I think it's interesting for Penn State. You don't want to have a question about the availability of your quarterback, Andrew Aller.
Yeah.
But having Bo Beulah, who's got experience, who did a nice job last week in relief, and has been a part of he's got reps. The guy's not green behind the ears and never seen the field, but his athleticism means that Ohio State's defense has to do double the prep this week. You've got to have 2 full game plans in place, one for Drew Aller, one for Bo Beulah. And so it's not a circumstance Penn State wants, but it's what they've got. So they've got a little bit of an advantage that you would think, hey, there's only so many hours and so many reps in a practice in a day. So you could find some holes against that Ohio State defense because they've had to do double the prep this week.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, LSU kind of went through that last week. They prepare for Connor Wigman. Here comes Marcel Reed into the game, and certainly couldn't make that adjustment in the game.
Right.
All right, so let's talk about Ohio State. Let's talk about those expectations. I mean, I did a show with Bobby yesterday. He's right there, does radio in Columbus every single day, and he said it ain't great I was like, what do you mean y'all won? He goes, it ain't great. I'm like, well, explain it to me. And he's like, this has been one of the hardest weeks. I mean, he said the local show is burning up because of the close victory against Nebraska. You lose against Oregon, even though, nobody at this point wants to hear on the road against the number one team in the country. You lose by one. You had a chance. You're driving. One play maybe goes, a little bit better for you. You stop the clock. You probably win the game. He's like, nobody wants to hear that. Nobody wants to hear that. So it just feels like Ryan Day right now can do no right, which is like from the outside looking in, Ben, we struggle to understand why that is, because I know Ohio State's won 2 natties in the last 25 years. All right, you're part of one of those. But it's like this expectation. Is it because he hasn't won one and, Tress and Urban Meyer, they win one, and it's like once he does, it will change? Or like, why is that dynamic like it is?
Yeah, Coach Day's having zero fun. Like, listen, highly compensated, I get all that, but there is no joy in being the head coach of one of the most prestigious programs in college football. And the people that were at the game, guys that, I was talking about this with Roddy this week. I'm on several group chats with former players, with friends that my family that still lives in Ohio, and the reporting of people that I trust that were at the game. There was something weird about it. One of my former teammates, or one of the guys that's a former player at Ohio State, was saying the sideline is dead, zombies.
Yeah.
And Coach Day in a targeting where it was a questionable call, he looks like he is boiling and at any moment ready to cave in on himself. And it goes back to why is this and these expectations. I think this is a reality. Our buddy Horowitz brought this up. Ohio State's always been good.
Yeah.
But they've only got 2 championships to show for it, meaning, 2 championships in the last whatever many years. But they've never had a stretch where you're going to take a few seasons off.
Yeah.
When I was in college, Bama wasn't as dominant as they were. Miami's been in the forest for a long time. Texas is just now getting back. Ohio State's never been on a 5-year stretch where things just aren't happening and they're insignificant in the race. Ohio State's always there, always good, and so the expectations are unreasonable. We were talking with Dan Hope, this guy that writes for 11 Warriors, covers the team, and I asked him kind of that question, like, is this defense, like, are we being unreasonable in our expectations? He's specifically for the defense, and he goes, this defense, he goes, they're top 10 in every statistical category, but, and then he goes on to criticize this, and I'm like, well, no. Yeah. This is a good defense. And more recent history for Ohio State fans is people are saying, well, the Urban Meyer era never had this kind of defensive malaise. Well, you know what Urban Meyer had during the majority of his career? 3 generational defensive linemen in Nick Bosa, or Joey Bosa, then Nick Bosa, then Chase Young.
Yeah.
That is 3 generational type of players that was there in consecutive order. And so now you've got a defensive line with Jack Sawyer and JT Tuimoloau, who are all going to be, if not first round, certainly day 2 draft picks into the NFL that have great NFL prospects. They just aren't top 15 draft prospects. Like that's the expectation that Ohio State fans have. And I'll tell you, I feel like I said this about a Bama team a couple years ago. I think it was the first year that Georgia won its title. They looked like a team that was struggling to carry the weight of the crown.
Yeah.
And Ohio State has its own crown, its own expectation, and this team and Ryan Day specifically looks like it's killing them.
As our good friend Peter Burns always says, heavy is the head that wears the crown.
Yeah, it is. It's not much fun right now.
Yeah, but
and Jacob, another aspect of this is these expectations are always there.
Yeah,
and when you work with a guy like Bobby, he's very pragmatic. Like, listen, you're at Ohio State. This is part of the deal. And so I recognize that.
Yeah.
But another element that this year is the expectations that are usually there. What have we spent this whole season, preseason, leading up to? Is that, hey, not only is this the Ohio State team that's always in the recruiting hunt, that's always in the Big Ten hunt, that's always in the 5-star hunt, this is also a $20 million roster.
Yeah.
So you add on that yet another element of expectation to these guys, and it's tough to deal with. This isn't a bad team.
Right.
They ran for 64 yards last week, but they're still top 5 in the Big Ten at rushing.
Yeah.
You have Chip Kelly calling the offensive plays. You've got 2 NFL running backs running the ball. You played a Nebraska team that, outside of the shellacking they took from Indiana, was a top 5 defense. So it's okay. I am asking for reason and a little bit of patience, and I think that Ohio State is just fine this year.
Oh, incredible as always, man. Benny, I'm so excited to join you this weekend. We're up against the clock, but I promise I'm only covering one game this weekend, so I'll be watching the game with you, buddy.
Good deal. I don't want you going back to that LSU game. No more of this Kirk Herbstreit light type of stuff where you're jet setting across for multiple sites in one day.
Yeah, commercially. All right, Ben, I'll see you this weekend, brother. Looking forward to it.
All right, buddy. Good talking to you. See you.
All right, Ben Hartsock, Sirius XM, good enough to join us here on OTB. We'll step away, wrap up hour 1 when we come back on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Off the bench.
Go to oakparkevents.com, oakparkevents.com. Look, man, if you want to throw a holiday Christmas party or luncheon or anything like that, go to Park 73. We got a couple of great dates left for you. And look, man, who doesn't love the vibes during the holiday season, right? And so you go to Park 73. It's gorgeously decorated, very festive. We got Christmas trees everywhere. They're going to blow your mind. We got that beautiful outdoor fireplace where you can go set up. We get a s'more station ready to go. Put you, your employees, your friends, whoever in that holiday spirit. Okay, so a couple of dates left. Act now before they go to Park 73. And then, of course, we also have Oak Lodge. And if you need a wedding, corporate event, meeting, retreat, seminar, anything like that, turnkey service, customizable to what you want in terms of food, ambiance, music, all of it. They're the best. oakparkevents.com.
The only thing scary about the deals at Bayou Ford is if you miss out on them, like $15,000 off F-150. Bayou Ford has $15,000 off Ford F-150. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a complimentary 7-year powertrain warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
It's no secret. The best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief. Our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
the best kept secret.
Welcome in to the best morning sports-ish show around. Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob.
All right, welcome back in, OTB. Another hit. We'll get into Penn State, Ohio State probably in depth. Just real quick, and since Michigan's been off topic here this morning with the Bryce Underwood stuff, again, I'm excited to go see Ann Arbor. I don't expect once the ball is kicked for it to be, a game that comes down to the wire. Michigan just too deficient right now offensively. Anybody else have a different way of this game playing out?
Not a different way, but I kind of want to hear me out. I kind of want to put Penn State on fraud watch a little bit. Not on the Michigan game, but just like
I
for the
live putting
rest.
them on fraud watch.
Yeah, like they might be overrated. Actually, I think they are.
All right.
I mean, you could argue that James Franklin's underperformed a little bit at Penn State. I mean, he's been good. He's never been able to have any sort of consistency. No, I could totally see that happening. And then, as much as Aller struggled last year, he's playing well. Is that the new norm for Drew Aller, or is he playing a little bit over his head?
We shall see. No LSU game. You'll be able to sit right in front of the TV and enjoy the Week 10 slate in college football. Hour 2 coming back your way.
Off the Bench.
All right, go to All-Star Toyota of Baton Rouge.com, All-Star Toyota of Baton Rouge.com. If you want to buy a new vehicle, they have got something for you. And it doesn't matter what you're looking for or what your needs are, they're going to be met. It's like we say every single day. Sedan, hybrid, midsize, full-size SUV, multiple trucks, Sienna minivan. They have got you covered. T-Bob right now on the road all the way to Orlando, Sienna minivan set up for him and his crew. It can be for you as well. Now, buying new, as we always say, yeah, sure, everything's going to be available, but leasing, sometimes you just get a couple of options. Everything's available over at All-Star. Same thing in the rental department. If you need to rent a vehicle to go watch the Tigers play in Gainesville here coming up in a couple of weeks, they have got you covered. Go to the website today, All-Star Toyota of Baton Rouge.com.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram can get you in a new 2024 Ram 1500 truck for only $32,898. $32,898 for a new Ram 1500 truck. All new Bayou Automotive vehicles come with a complimentary 7-year powertrain warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Looking for the ultimate game day experience? Come to the Queen Casino in Baton Rouge. Wall-to-wall TVs mean you'll see every touchdown in HD. Place your bets and feel the thrill of every play with our DraftKings Sportsbook. The Queen Casino, where every moment is a win.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared towards seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood Subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri.
Good morning. It's 8 a.m. here on Thursday, October 31st. Today in Baton Rouge, you can expect rainy skies throughout this Halloween with a high of around 85 in hour 2 of today's show. We'll continue our discussion of college football. We'll look at some NFL games as well. You can follow us on Twitter or Instagram at OTB_ESPN and watch us on YouTube at the 104.5 ESPN channel. Hour number 2 of Off the Bench, live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios, starts now.
Welcome into Off the Bench, presented by All-Star Toyota.
Come in, if you dare.
We're bringing you the spookiest sports talk in town. With Jacob Hester and T-Bob Hebert.
Aren't you scared?
Live from the haunted Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio, here's Jacob Hester and T-Bob Hebert.
All right, welcome back in. Hour number 2 of OTB. Speaking of scary, anybody watch the Pelicans last night?
Not last night, but if it was anything like the first Warriors game, I'm assuming it was less than pleasant.
That was kind of somewhat scoreline similar as far as like how bad you lost. After starting the season 2-0, New Orleans Pelicans have lost 3 games in a row. So they start the season beating Chicago, losing on the road to Portland, winning on the road against Portland. Then they lost in a back-to-back. Basically, you had a day in between, but you lose to Portland. And then you lose back-to-back games on back-to-back nights against the Golden State Warriors, and Steph Curry did not play in either one. Neither one of the games did their biggest star play. And you pretty much, obviously Murray's out, but, you had Zion. You had B.I., CJ. You had your crew over there on Tuesday night, and then you still had the crew on Wednesday night. No Steph Curry, you dropped the game. I even saw like people already wanting Willie Green just out to that point already. I was like, when they started 2-0, I'm like, okay. All right, it's going to be a positive NBA season. Going to be a lot of fun to talk about the Pels. Then they've been beaten. Listen, 125-103, 124-106, and 104-89 over the last 3 games. It's not great. It's not great, Bob.
Well, Jake, that's what happens when you don't have a true post player. And what were your issues going into the offseason, right? It was, hey, you need a big man. Hey, you need a point guard to get the ball to your shooters on the perimeter. You sign the point guard. He is now out with a broken hand. You still don't have a big man. You hope Yves Missi can become that. He played 12 minutes. He went 0 for 5. He only had 3 rebounds. He was actually minus 13 in real plus minus as well. So that's never good. Jordan Hawkins playing 39 minutes, probably the highlight of the game, just because he's desperately needed more minutes. You need that shooter. Now, he shot 4 for 14 from 3, but 9 for 21 from the field. So not a terrible shooting night, 23 points. But this team right now, if Zion Williamson and Brandon Ingram have bad nights, they actually had a good night game 1 against Golden State. They both had over 23 and still lost. But if Brandon Ingram and Zion Williamson don't have good games on the same night, you only score 89 points, and this is what happened. This team does not have the top-to-bottom depth that we thought they would, at least not right now, and your stars aren't showing up.
Yeah, CJ plays in the first Warriors game, misses the second one, as I said. Where do you put everyone at this point? No Herb in the second game either. He played again, but they played in the first one, and the first one didn't go your way either. The roster, it's weird because it has depth, like it has good players that are on the bench. Now, I don't think it's what it's been in years past, but it's got some good pieces. But it's just like a mashup of players with, it feels like no real plan. Like there's not a purpose. It's like you've got talent. Like I think you have like 9, maybe even potential 10 guys that are really talented. But if they don't work for what you're trying to get done, and if they don't make a great roster, it doesn't really matter. And that's what they feel like right now. They feel like a talented team that didn't have a plan to come into the season ready to go.
This is going to sound bad, but I do not mean it bad. They have a lot of tweeners on their team, meaning just like a lot of wing players.
Hey,
right?
wait. You're trying to tell, you don't have to explain what a tweener is to me. You know how many times I heard that in my career?
Like you were a tweener?
A running back and a fullback.
You had a specific skill set, though. I mean,
I'm basically Liam Neeson. Yeah, I'm taken.
You have a ton of wing shooters on this team. Herb Jones, Trey Murphy, Brandon Ingram. Last year, you didn't have that true guard to get him the ball. That's why DeJounte Murray looked like the perfect fit on this team.
Yeah.
He could drive the lane. The defense collapses on him. He could kick it out to his shooters. You don't have that right now, and you don't really have a guy, even with C.J. McCollum in there. C.J.'s not that guy. I mean, he's well over 30 at this point. He's not the guy that's going to drive the lane. He's a catch-and-shoot player as well.
Yeah.
You have a lot of catch-and-shoot players. Your best post player is Zion Williamson, but he's only 6'6". I mean, he's not a true definition of a back-to-the-basket post player. No center. I mean, Yves Missi had a block last night, but you don't have a guy that people fear going down low against if you're the Pelicans. It's just a lot of the same type of player. Like, to your point, they're talented, but how well did they really play off of each other?
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, it doesn't seem like right now. And, again, no Herb, no CJ, but they played in that first game. And I realized that Murray was your great addition in the offseason, but he goes down. And just like we talk about with the Saints, you've got so many things that surround like this one player, and for them it's Taysom Hill. It's like then when he goes out, there's no backup plan. Like this roster feels like the first 5 when healthy, that can work. That can be a thing. But if one goes out with injury, that plan that you had to go small, to do some different things, to have Herb at the 5, right? To play through Zion, all those things, well, it goes to hell in the handbasket, right? Because you're set up to be fully healthy. The NBA one's not fully healthy ever. It's not. Like to play 82 games is really never going to happen. And also, you're the Pelicans. You've lived with injuries for as long as any of us can remember. And so, like, that's what I'm talking about with the roster. It's like you've got a good plan, a plan that I think will work if your top 6 are healthy. But when those one of the 6, and it almost doesn't matter which one gets hurt, it all goes away. And I think that's the problem.
Well, look at your bench. I mean, if I told you Daniel Tice, Brandon Boston, Jalen Green, Yves Missi, I mean, if I told you this is your bench players and 3 of your stars are out, I got to be honest, you're not going to feel super comfortable inserting any of those guys in the starting lineup. I mean, you have Jordan Hawkins, and then one of your stars, whether it's, Trey Murphy, Brandon Ingram, CJ, one of your core players is going to have to come off the bench as well. So you really have 5 starters and 2 bench players. Outside of that, there's a significant drop-off.
Looking at the chat. Oh, I didn't even think about this. Obviously the Pelicans and Saints, I mean, they basically share a building. I mean, they're right there next to each other. Ownership's the same. Hell, Mickey Loomis ran the Pelicans for a minute, wildly enough. 2-0 start. All losses after.
Every New Orleans team is the same.
Yeah.
Well, look at the teams they beat. Two teams that aren't exactly going to compete for the NBA Finals this year. Same with the New Orleans Saints.
So this roster, it's so frustrating watching them because you know that they're talented players, and you know in certain systems that you know it could look different, it could be different. I'm not sure that firing Willie Green right now is going to fix the issues. I just don't. And like T-Bob talks about it all the time, how shocked he is that Brandon Ingram didn't get moved. It wasn't because Brandon Ingram's not awesome. He is. All-star level player. He doesn't make it every year, but he's right there on the fringe. A really good player. He's given a lot to the city. Been loyal since he's come over from the Lakers. But again, like, the pieces don't fit the puzzle. And he felt like the one asset that you had to try to get the pieces to make the puzzle work. But, you know, you decided to go into this season with the pieces that you had, and this is what we were talking about. This is, you know, a guy gets nicked up here, a guy gets nicked up there, and you're not going to be a complete team. So, again, like, Willie Green's got to be better, but with the roster and the way they try to get things done through the front office, I'm just not sure that it's going to matter. I don't think that, you know, making a move at coach, because he's still going, whoever the coach is probably going to have a lot of the same issues. So until they make a move, and Tay, I don't know if you agree, I think this is who the Pelicans are. Because the Warriors, the team they just threw out there, it ain't the Splash Brothers, right? Clay ain't there no more. It's not peak Splash Brothers. It's not Draymond doing all the dirty work that he has. Like, Draymond was out there, a lot of gray in his beard. All right? It was a lot of guys that the casual NBA fan would have no clue who they are. And I mean that. If you're a casual NBA fan that just kind of watches a little bit here, gets locked in the playoffs, there's like 3 Warriors that started that I'm confident you don't know who they are.
Oh, yeah, because, I mean, you were out with Steph, but you also didn't have Andrew Wiggins in either of these games either. You lost to Draymond Green, Buddy Hield, Jonathan Kuminga, Kayvon Looney, Kyle Anderson. I mean, those are the 3, and those are probably the 5 most well-known players.
And
on
the only
team.
reason you know Buddy Hield is because he played for the Pelicans.
Yes.
And maybe you remember him from Oklahoma.
And I mean, Jake, those are probably the most well-known guys. That wasn't even the starting lineup.
No, I mean, Trace Jackson Davis
guys.
went off. That's not a law firm. That's a basketball player. It's oof. You got to bounce back, and it has to happen in a hurry. I'm just not sure right now that can be done. Again, look, West Coast road trip, you know, long travel, been on the road 4 straight games. That's certainly something. That I'm not going to hand wave that. That is certainly something. You're coming back home. Pacers, Hawks, Trailblazers again, 3rd time already this year, Cavs, all in the Smoothie King Center. You got to go make some hay and win 3 of those 4 games and get some of your mojo back. And look, if you want to go to the Pelicans game right now, we always talk about what's the ticket. Maybe play that today since I'm not here tomorrow. $3 gets you in to the Pelicans and Pacers. $3. So if you want to go catch an NBA game in New Orleans, $3 will get you into the Smoothie King, which is not, you know, a lot of bad seats in that arena. All right, that's depressing. We're going to step away from that conversation. Before we go to break, I want to remind you about our friends over at K2Z Window Coverings, the website K2ZBlinds.com, and we always encourage you to have them out to your space. Go to the website, top right corner. If you're in the 985, if you're in the 225, that contact information is in that top right corner. Call them. Have Brandon and the team come out so they can know your space in 5 minutes and know it better than you know it. They've done it for me. They'll do it for you as well. K2ZBlinds.com. We'll get away from the Pelicans talk, something a little bit more positive when we come back here on OTB.
Off the bench.
All right, go to communitysteelco.com. Communitysteelco.com for all your steel needs. Metal buildings, roofing and sheet metal, steel framing, all right there on the homepage of the website. Also on the homepage, because we always talk about it. They are located in Gonzales, Louisiana. They are local. They encourage you to come see them. If OTB is on, they have already opened. They open at 7 a.m. every single day. And if you want to find out the exact location in Gonzales, you go to the top right corner of the website, click on Community Steel, and it will show you, and they are ready and waiting on you. Now, if you can't get there today, it is okay, because throughout the state of Louisiana, no matter where you're listening to us, in Alexandria, New Orleans, Shreveport, it doesn't matter. Pick up the phone, give them a call, tell them what you need, what you are looking for. That number is 225-647-2020.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief: our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
Back to sports talk. Maybe. Off the bench.
Flynn and I used to get in trouble because we'd let songs go like 2.5 minutes if we were feeling it and vibing. Like straight up 2.5 minutes of just not talking.
Well, we played the whole solo of Freebird, like the whole 5-minute solo with no words. Just
when? Well, I wasn't here for that.
When was that?
No,
you weren't here.
You weren't here. It was
I don't know.
It was Freebird.
It was Freebird, but
Yeah.
like I don't remember why.
Was it just T?
It was just
Or was
T-Bob.
Flynn, because usually Flynn
No,
is
he-
involved in
no,
this.
Told me
was
put him
just
on
T-Bob.
camera, and he just played air guitar for
5 minutes.
pretty much, yeah.
Were you out of town for? No, because I was out of town for 4th of July. So it was, I don't know. It was during the summer. The entirety of Freebird. People were in the chat like, "Oh, I was listening on the radio and I thought I had it on
Had Eagle.
98.1." Yeah.
Yeah, he played the entire.
Oh, maybe it was 4th of July. They're saying in the chat it was.
Okay. I don't remember being
I
out
was out
4th
4th of July. Yeah.
I'm trying to think where out. I don't remember that. And I was out at the end of it. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. Gosh, that last Pelican segment, like it's something we look. Like we were for the Pelicans. Like we're in Louisiana. We're gonna talk about the Pelicans, obviously. But my God, how depressing. I mean, between the Saints and the Pelicans right now, and now LSU is a much better team, but them losing going into the bye week, we got to get some juice into Louisiana sports.
Bruh.
We need a lightning bolt of energy right now.
So what is it?
I don't know.
Oh, I thought you had one.
No, I don't. I wish I did. And then you got this Bryce Underwood stuff.
8 points from the Saints.
No. And 2 of them came because of a horrendous snap by the Chargers deep snapper. You got one job, fella. One job. I hope it gets better. Because listen, we can't go a full football season with this being the only thing. Talking about the Saints, and my God, does it feel like it's going to be all football season? Like, guys, they hadn't won since Moby Dick was a minnow. And it doesn't look like they are going to, even like this weekend, they're favorites by a touchdown. Like, the hell? That team is favored by a touchdown over anybody?
Yeah.
They're going on the road to Carolina. What can you say about the Panthers? They're awful. They fight. They got a little, a little grit to them. Now, that grit doesn't turn into wins because they don't have talent, but you lose to the Panthers.
And look, I think the possibility is pretty high.
Ain't great.
It looks like they're going to actually roll with Bryce Young.
Well, actually, that's good.
Yeah,
Saints.
no, that's what I'm saying. If Andy Dalton was playing in this game, I would feel a lot less confident about it. With Bryce Young in there, no, I mean, the Saints have to win this game. I mean, Jake, you look at the Panthers when Bryce Young's playing, like, they don't call the same plays for when Andy Dalton's in there. Like, they don't trust him to do anything. They will not throw the ball downfield. They're not going to call a bunch of creative plays. Like, they don't trust him to do anything.
He was so good in college. And you could sit here and be like, well, look, a lot of these guys are really good in college. They don't work out in the NFL. Sure, for sure. I know that. I've been around this thing long enough. But that was a Heisman Trophy winner who, sure, he was undersized, but let's not act like he didn't have things that, every team was looking for. Like he did not feel like he was going to be this just giant bust of a player. Like, it is so bad that I do agree with you, Tay. Like, they change who they are, what they're doing, and they are like spoon feeding him like this basic offense. Like, the thing you always heard about him at Alabama was how much he could handle in his football IQ, and it showed. That's bad. It is bad. And it's actually good for the Saints that he's going to play, but normal conversations, we would come here and we'd be like, hey, you lose to the Panthers, you're done. You're done. Dennis wouldn't coach another game. I think the thing that makes it so miserable is the fact that they have a chance of losing to the Panthers, and there's not a damn thing that's going to happen after or because of it. Like that's the like infuriating, frustrating, just what are we doing? What are we watching? That's the portion that I just can't get over.
Yeah, because you were talking like it has to be it if they lose to the Panthers. Like, I think if they lose to the Panthers, you move on from Dennis Allen. Like, in the post-game press conference, just go ahead and cut ties then. But honestly, Jake, you look back at what this ownership group, what this front office group has done in the past, I have no confidence that they're going to do that and make the right decision. I mean, why do it now? Why not do it in the offseason? Why not do it? I mean, you've lost 6 games in a row. Is the Panthers really going to change that? It should, but I have no confidence that this front office is going to do the right thing.
And not like, I'm not talking about after the season. Like, think about any NFL franchise. Well, maybe not the Cowboys, because like you said, Tay, I mean, gosh, y'all feel like you're in a bad spot, although you did make the postseason last year. Like, Brandon Staley last year was bad with the Chargers. They made the playoffs the year before that. Like, what'd they do? We fired him in the middle of the year. You were stuck in the mud. You couldn't get out. You don't get to get stuck in the mud in the NFL. It doesn't happen. Doesn't happen. Right? And if you have a high expectation or even a playoff expectation, which this team did, you go 8-8. Oh, now it's different. But back in the day, and I use this example, like we went 8-8 in San Diego after going 13-3. I'm like, all right, North, get one more.
All right, North.
And he went 7-9. And they let Coach go. He was 53-40 in his time in San Diego, and they let him go. Dennis Allen ain't 53-40.
And he's never been any sort of any. I don't think he's ever had a winning season ever.
He is not.
No, he's never had one.
His best season was last year.
Yes.
Yeah,
and
7-9, right?
Yeah. There you go. You just said 7-9 is what he went. He got fired. Like, it makes me very angry that, like, I know he says to look beyond the results, but there's nothing else that, like, I'm going to look at and be like, oh, yeah, Dennis Allen, I can look beyond these losses and be like, oh, okay, sure, there's potential here. But there's nothing about Dennis Allen that, like, 1, excites me, 2, makes me feel like he has potential for anything, 3, like, obviously these players don't like him either. He's throwing all of them under the bus. Like, it makes me so mad.
Right. They can say that, and I don't even know that they are, but I'm saying if they did come out and be like, no, nope, he's our guy. Like the players.
Yeah.
No, he ain't. Mm-mm. Like your actions speak so loud, I can't hear a word you're saying.
Yeah.
And how could he be your guy? He throws you under the bus consistently. He doesn't talk about himself and how bad he is. He just talks about how bad you are.
He has no sort of like fire either way. Like,
there's zero juice.
Even when they were winning,
zero juice.
There's like that one video of him being like, sometimes you got to pop out and show him. But even that, like, that didn't even really excite me. And it just, no fire either way. And I don't know how you're supposed to excite any players or any fans even with somebody like Dennis Allen.
Well, and Jake, like going back to your point, let's look at some of the coaches right now that like you would consider on the hot seat, right? Like Robert Sala's already been fired for underperforming. People are calling for Doug Peterson's head in Jacksonville. He went to the playoffs 2 years ago, and he's won a damn Super Bowl.
Doug Peterson's literally who I had pulled up on my screen here because that was going to be my example. It's not going great for Doug.
Nope.
Okay, but you're right. He won a playoff game 2 years ago. Pushed the Chiefs pretty hard in those playoffs.
Yeah, like you could argue they should have won that game.
And he can, look down at his hand and he sees a big fat ring. All right. Now, even that, like, it does feel like, is Doug the guy right now? Do they need to make a move? And this man's won a Super Bowl as a head coach, and we're having those conversations. Dennis Allen couldn't win a Super Bowl in the intramural league. There's nothing to fall back on.
No,
I'm sure you could give some more coaches.
Yeah, the only way Dennis Allen's going to the Super Bowl is if he buys a ticket. Like go look at Mike
in the
McCarthy.
Superdome, so maybe they'll give him a free one this year. But yes, to your point,
he doesn't deserve it.
Go look at Mike McCarthy. I get it. He's with Dallas. It's a polarizing franchise. Mm-hmm. But I mean, every other day we hear about, oh well, Jerry Jones said this about Mike McCarthy. There's a feud here. Yeah, he's 3-4. The last 3 seasons, 12-5, 12-5, 12-5. He also has a Super Bowl win.
Yeah.
This is a guy that's won 62% of his games in 18 years. Dennis Allen doesn't come close to that. And Mike McCarthy's a guy whose head is on the chopping block a little bit. So you have 2 coaches, Peterson and Mike McCarthy, who I think are both really good head coaches that simply because they're probably not going to make the playoffs, they're going to get fired. You're on a 6-game skid, and you're just acting like nothing's wrong.
I was listening to NFL radio last week, and they were talking about Sean McVay being on the hot seat. Now they've won 2 games, I think, in a row since then. But they were like, Sean McVay 1-4. I think it's time for LA to move on. Dude's done nothing but win there. Like, and I realized the last 2 years, and he's had some years where he's had some injuries, like major. He signed Baker on a Tuesday, had to start him on a Thursday. You know, he's got a Super Bowl to fall back on. Like, that's the wild part. All these conversations that we have about all these coaches right now and teams and franchises that are struggling outside of some new coaches, like Carolina, okay, new coach. We know this, Vegas, new coach, Tennessee, new coach. Every coach that's established and been there, right, if they haven't been fired already, the talk is that they're on the hot seat. Dennis Allen is the one guy across the National Football League that seems to have a hall pass. And he gets to use it consistently. And I just don't understand why, because you can't look back on the good times because there's not any good times. Not in his entire head coaching career in the NFL.
Go back and look at Kyle Shanahan. I mean, that was the talk in the offseason. Is Kyle Shanahan truly the offensive guru that we thought he was? And this is just because of, some gaffes in the Super Bowl. In the Super Bowl. They're talking about his performances in 2 bad Super Bowls. And then this year, they've underperformed a little bit. But, I mean, look how many injuries the San Francisco 49ers have had, and they've still overcame it. They're still hovering around 500. So a lot of people are like, oh, well, Mickey Loomis is saying that it's because of injuries. 49ers are overcoming it. I mean, there's a lot of teams out there that have injuries. They're not on a 6-game slide. They just won. They've won their last 2 games in a row with virtually nobody. You got Brock Purdy. I mean, Ricky Pearsall was your number 1 outside receiver last week in his NFL debut. I mean, that's how banged up they are at the receiver position. So there's any excuse that you hear from Mickey Loomis, the rest of the league is not making these excuses. And then at the same time, Jake, if you fired Dennis Allen, what decent coach is going to want to come here when you're $72 million over the cap next year?
Sorry, Dennis, you were 9-8 last year. Congratulations. Hang the banner. You had a winning season. Sorry. You were 9-8. Let's make sure we get that out there as you bring your New Orleans record to 18-24, your overall coaching record to 26-52. This is a depressing conversation. So let's go ahead and take a break. And I think we're going to actually have our guy, Bill Bender of the Sporting News, join us when we come back here on OTB.
Off the bench.
Oh, we are very excited to welcome on our new partner. And I don't know if you can see, maybe right there on the other end of the desk, you'll start to see some swag over there from our new friends over at Main Event. Well, I shouldn't say new friends because me and the family have been going over there for a very long time, ever since they opened over on Blue Bonnet. You should go check it out. So many different ways to have fun at Main Event. You can book a party. You can book the bowling alley. You can book a corporate event, a little team building event. Like if you want to have the place to yourself, right? You want to do that. You want to bring your entire company. They can do all of that. However big your birthday party is, they can handle all of that. And look, you can have fun at any age. Like I talk about me and Kate bringing the 5 kids over there, right? We have a good time. We like to eat, play games, do the whole deal. But go have a date night. Go have whatever you want to make it over at Main Event, mainevent.com.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs, even in the case of an after-hours emergency.
Back to sports talk. Maybe. Off the bench.
This will be sports talk, big voice lady. We promise you, because we've got our guy, Bill Bender of the Sporting News at BillBender92 joining us now. Bill, always a pleasure. I didn't talk with you last week, and something just didn't feel right in my life. I talked with you every week, for the last probably 5 years, and so there was something missing, and it was because I didn't have a conversation with you, Bill.
Yeah, we'll get that straightened out tomorrow, I'm sure. I didn't. It's okay. But yeah, every weekend we're already in week 10, and
I know.
I had a podcaster this week tell me I look tired, and I was like, I know what that's polite for. I know what that's polite for, and no, but I'm excited. We've got the rankings coming out here Tuesday, and really big Big Ten matchup on Saturday to get us going.
Yeah, you tell that podcaster chill out. It's week 10, bro. We're tired out here in these streets, all right?
Yeah, we work hard, man. And I like I said, most of the hay's in the barn for this week, but the Penn State-Ohio State matchup has me confused. I'll say that because Drew Aller has to play for Penn State to win. I'll get that out of the way. I think his ability to stretch the field and throw the ball down the field, and I know you talk to Bobby all the time in Columbus, and this Ohio State offensive line is a real concern going into this game. They have a very big challenge against Penn State.
I think they do as well. I agree with you, Drew Aller. He's got to play, I think, for Penn State. Now, were you surprised that Ohio State's a 3.5-point favorite on the road? I know it's not a night game. I would love this game to be under the lights, but were you surprised that Ohio State's still a favorite?
No, because some of it's the conditioning of living in Central Ohio, and some of it is the fact that they've won 9 out of the last 10. And the pressure points are dueling here for Ryan Day. There's obviously a lot been made of his record 2-6 against top 5 teams. When you broaden that number out, numbers are, as you know, numbers and stats are made to be tailored to your narrative. He's actually 10-8 against top 10 teams, which was the same record that Jim Tressel had against top 10 teams at Ohio State. So I think that's part of it. And then the other side, James Franklin 1-9 against the Buckeyes.
Yeah.
Haven't won since 2016. You and I talk constantly about the big game narrative. And this is the first time in the last 5 years that I thought in my head they could actually win this game.
It does feel closer than it has in a very, very long time. And, you know, speaking of Bobby, like we were talking yesterday, Bill, and he said like Columbus right now, it's just on fire. I was like, what do you mean? He goes, they want more. And beating Nebraska like they did was not enough. And they you know, you've already got I'm like, Bobby, they also number one team in the country on the road by 1. He goes, doesn't matter.
Right.
So with all that, and you know that too, I mean, you're right there in Ohio. If they lose this game, if it's already bad and they're the number 4 team in the country, they drop out of the top 10 and likely drop potentially out of the playoff conversation. They still have some chance for sure, but like, what does it turn into then, Bill?
Well, Bobby's right. I would use the word pressure. It's palpable here.
Yeah.
It's really palpable. And I don't know if when you played at LSU that you had to deal with that in terms of this. It's not an entitlement to win every game, but there's an expectation given the moves that they made in the offseason, bringing in Chip Kelly. I know I used the Empire Strikes Back comparison after watching Michigan win a national title, and you can just feel it here.
Yeah.
That, like, nothing, it's not enough. And I don't know if you dealt with that in that run that you guys had at LSU, where I think the difference maybe, and I'm not speaking for you, I mean, when you were in the SEC, Florida was there.
Yeah.
And there was so many good teams. Ohio State was expected to win every game this year. And
Right.
if they go to 2 losses and Indiana come in, it's going to get weird around here.
That's actually a great point. You lose this one, you still got to deal with Indiana. Now that game is going to be in Columbus, but let's go ahead and talk about Indiana. Curt Cignetti. I mean, my God, what a job! I remember, like, the only thing I really remember about Indiana football, and like, sure, they've had some good players. I don't want to besmirch the players, but I'm talking about like real national attention was like when they were bad, but Antoine Randall was going out there making highlight plays in the early 2000s. Like me growing up and like in high school age, that's the only thing I ever remember hearing about Indiana football. And they won 3 games last year, and now Curt Cignetti comes in, and there's nothing fluky about what the Hoosiers have done right now. Now, you know, they got a tricky spot on the road against Michigan State this week, but how they handled last week, Bill, with game day and all the noise around that game, this is a real football team.
They really are. And, you know, they took 13 transfers from James Madison. So, and a lot of those kids were on a team that started 10-0 last year before they lost to App. So they've been down this road. And and Curtis Rourke from my alma mater, Ohio alum, or Ohio Bobcat, is an NFL quarterback. Day 2 at least.
Yeah.
So he makes those throws. And then he's out, and they respond like that. So this is a really good football team, dangerous team. As for Curt Cignetti, I mean, another difference with the SEC, we're not used to coaches like him coming out and, you know, calling his shot. And it's very buttoned up. You know that from being up here. It's
right.
The buttoned up coaches. There's not a Spurrier or a Les Miles out there shooting off whatever he wants to say. And I think there's an adjustment to that, and their confidence is at an all-time high.
Not only did the man say, Google me, he also, I mean, the first day on the job, he told Purdue they sucked. I mean, he told half the Big Ten they sucked, like in the basketball arena. So there was confidence with Cignetti coming into this deal, Bill.
Well, and he called out Ohio State and Michigan, and you know, being around those fan bases, you're like, well, hey, man, you might want to Google Ohio State, Indiana, and you'll see that they haven't won since the 1980s, which is the longest opponent win streak within a conference in the country. But he's got their attention here, and he certainly has Michigan's attention, I would think, because Michigan did lose to Indiana in 2020. But the Wolverines are in a different spot this year. And there's one, and I'm going to kind of segue into that. You call me crazy, Jacob. I think Michigan is going to at least hang with Oregon and make it really interesting. I don't know if they can pull the upset outright. I think they're going to hang at home in like a kitchen sink type environment there in Ann Arbor this weekend.
Okay. Look, me and Hartsock are actually covering that game. So I don't know what to expect from that one. Michigan really struggling to throw the forward pass, and Oregon and Dylan Gabriel, like, I don't know. The game flow is going to be just massive, and how Michigan is able to keep the football away from Oregon's offense, Bill, that feels like the number one thing for me.
Right, and I think Michigan, with the win last week, there was some level of confidence, and that is a nasty rivalry. Notwithstanding what happened after the game, they just – it's up there in terms of two schools that hate each other. It's really close, and it's getting out of hand after the game, quite frankly. But if Will Johnson plays, they have a corner that can maybe match up with one of those receivers, at least Evan Stewart or Tez Johnson. If they can get to Dylan Gabriel a little bit, this is Oregon's first cross-country trip against Purdue counts, I guess, but not like that. This is a real team with a real defense and a real front four with Graham and Grant. But on the other side, if Michigan doesn't generate offense or any semblance of a passing game in that game, even if it's a little bit, they'll be in trouble.
All right, Bill, last one for you, and we always appreciate time catching up with the guy, Bill Bender from the Sporting News. So we have some undefeated teams in conference play, all right? And, SMU and Pitt and Indiana, ones we're talking about. Like, so of the ones that we didn't have in that spot in the preseason, which one do you think actually has the best chance to make the college football playoff?
I think Indiana does. Now, that SMU Pitt game is going to have my attention at 8 p.m. on Saturday night, but I just think Indiana, even if they win these next two and they don't get blown out at Ohio State, that'll give the Big Ten a really good chance to get 4 playoff teams in. And again, some of that comes down to, if you'd have told, I know we talk every week, but man, if you'd have told me in July, hey, Billy, Indiana beats Ohio State, knocks Ohio State out of the playoff, and the Hoosiers are in, and that scenario is very real.
Right.
I could have told you, what are we talking about? And that goes to show how wild this college football season has been.
It certainly has. A 12-team playoff has opened up a whole new world of possibilities, and I am all here for it. I mean, so many teams are in the conversation. We sit here on the eve of November, and we're talking about 20 teams, maybe even more, that have an opportunity to still go play for a national championship. Bill, you're the man. We appreciate your time. As always, we'll catch up. I'll probably catch up again with you very soon, right? We talk every single week, so I appreciate you hopping on with us.
Hey, make sure your kids get you plenty of candy tonight, Jacob. I'll talk to you soon.
Absolutely. The great Bill Bender at Bill Bender 92, the man that if you ask him a question about anything in college football, he is going to have an answer for you and is ready to go. One of the absolute best. All right, we will step away. That has wild behavior in the chat. I also saw that. We'll step away. More OTB coming back your way here on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Off the bench.
Go to trashrangers.com, and you can sign up for residential service, commercial service, and you can sign up for those roll-off dumpsters that we tell you about all the time as well. 3 different sizes of roll-off dumpsters to choose from. And so pick up the phone, give them a call, tell them what you've got going on, because maybe you're doing a home renovation, or maybe you're doing something at your business where you're going to need the biggest that they offer, right? You're going to need that biggest dumpster that they offer. You just call them. You tell them what you have, and they've been in this game so long, they're going to be able to make sure that you get the right dumpster to your project. 225-363-9053 is the number. But again, you go to that website, trashrangers.com, brand new website ready for you. And if you are one of the lucky ones that gets residential service, commercial service, you can sign up for it right there on the website. They are the absolute best, trashrangers.com.
It's an everyday thing here. We work horses in the mornings and we work on the property during the day, and without these John Deere tractors, it'd almost be impossible to keep up with the place. I've dealt with some of the other colors and stuff, and I never really got the response back that I get from John Deere, We really enjoy dealing with Sunshine. They're good people. They always check on us and make sure our equipment's running, and we love them. Flip the switch and learn more about what it means to be powered by Sunshine at sunequip.com.
At Luba Workers Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief. Our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered.
Welcome back to the 9th-ranked morning sports show in America. Off the bench.
All right, welcome back in. OTB 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. I have Barrett Salee join us here in about 10 minutes from now as well. We're talking a lot of Big Ten today because they, look, they've got the biggest game of the weekend. It's number 3 versus number 4. They've also got, Oregon and Michigan. You've got Indiana and a kind of a potential slip-up spot against Michigan State. So certainly they've got some of the games of the weekend. Probably dive more into the SEC when we have Barrett join us. Not as much in the SEC this weekend, although Texas A&M, South Carolina. And I know we got Georgia, Florida, and that's its own deal in Jacksonville. Ole Miss, Arkansas, actually, I think is going to be a pretty good game. I am highly intrigued. It has nothing. It's not. A&M beat LSU last week. Yeah, of course, but South Carolina's good. I know the record. They're 4-3 overall, 2-3 in conference play. They've only been run off the field once by Ole Miss. And if you remember the game flow of that one, Ole Miss gets the ball first. South Carolina forces a punt. All right, they get the ball. It's 4th and 1, and they decide to run the most predictable fake punt in the history of fake punts. They get stuffed there. Ole Miss 2-play scores. That game was over right then and there. Right, so even in that one, I think you can point to one moment that completely changed that game. You look at the ESPN matchup predictor, 54.1% for A&M. You look at what Vegas thinks about this game. It opened up in favor of A&M, -3.5. It's down to 2 now. A&M now, right, it's not going to have the element of going to Marcel Reed and it being a great change of pace for them. South Carolina's now, look, they're going to prepare for both quarterbacks. Now they know that you'll play both. And that front seven for South Carolina can hold up, I think, against anybody in the league. It's going to be a dogfight. I would be surprised if this is not a fourth quarter, somebody's got the ball to go win the game in the last possession type game. It's going to be physical as hell. It's going to feature great edge rushers. It's going to feature great one-cut running backs. And which dual-threat quarterback can make the play with his legs, I think is going to be the difference.
Well, that's the thing, right? These teams are so similar, like you mentioned. Because, I think we all fully expect Marcel Reed to get the start this weekend. So it's Reed and Moss versus Sellers and Rocket Sanders. And you mentioned it. LSU's defense has been much improved. But that South Carolina defense, Jake, I get it. Texas A&M was a buzzsaw last weekend, but the South Carolina defense is no slouch. What did we talk about all year long? Hey, you only gave up 2 sacks all year. Both of them were against South Carolina. So South Carolina got after Nussmeier twice. A&M got after Nussmeier twice. If they can rush the passer and make A&M more predictable, they're good tacklers in open field. They could potentially bottle up Marcel Reed. And, again, if you let a good team hang around long enough, they're going to upset you. We've seen it time and time again this year in college football. That's going to be a heck of a matchup.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be a high quality played game. I think it's going to be very physical. I think the pads are going to be popping on this one, and South Carolina is going to have every opportunity. A&M used a lot of energy in that LSU victory, right? To be able to make that kind of comeback they did in the second half. Then you got to go on the road. Now, it's a place they're familiar with. This is a team they play all the time, but still, it is going to be rocking. It is going to be under the lights at Williams-Brice, and that stadium is going to be turned up to an 11, and I think it's going to be one of the ones of the weekend. All right, we'll take a break. Barrett Sallee, when we come back here, it is OTB 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Off the bench.
All right, go to yourgoodwood.com. Yourgoodwood.com. Men's sexual wellness. I always tell you, live life without fear or embarrassment. Because you shouldn't have to. You don't have to, in fact. There's answers to the questions. You just got to go to the website. Because you go to the website, you can find a full list of services that they offer over at Goodwood. You go to the website and you can book your appointment right there. Look, discreetly if you want to, right there on the website. But again, the tagline is true. You can live life without fear or embarrassment. So this is something that people deal with, but you have to get it dealt with. And that's what Goodwood is going to do for you. So again, you can book your appointment. You can find pricing, all that on the website. The website is yourgoodwood.com. The number 225-4GD-WOOD. Goodwood, yourgoodwood.com.
There it is, the extra mile on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared towards seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, Our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs, even in the case of an after-hours emergency. The light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue.
Good morning. It's 9 a.m. here on Thursday, October 31st. Today in Baton Rouge, you can expect possible rainy skies with a high of 85. In hour 3 of today's show, we'll be joined by Garrett at 9 a.m. Then our Munchie segment with LSU Executive Chef Michael Johnson at 9:15. If you missed hours 1 or 2 of the show, you can catch it in the on-demand section at 1045ESPN.com. You can also follow us on Twitter or Instagram at OTB_ESPN and watch us on YouTube at the 1045 ESPN channel. Hour number 3 of Off the Bench, live from the Mercedes-Benz Baton Rouge studios, starts now.
Happy Halloween! Welcome into Off the Bench, presented by All-Star Toyota.
Enter at your own risk.
We're bringing you the spookiest sports talk in town. With Jacob Hester and T-Bob Hebert.
It might even horrify you.
Live from the haunted Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio, here's Jacob Hester and T-Bob Hebert.
All right, welcome back in. Hour number 3 of OTB. Very excited for our next conversation. Our guy, Garrett. Catch him on his daily podcast, Smothered and Covered. You can catch him on SiriusXM, College Sports Radio. Also writing articles now for Outkick. Barrett, appreciate the time as always. And I'm sure you're probably like me over the last couple of days, and you're just hate watching the World Series considering it's the Dodgers and Yankees.
Yeah, I mean, I went in, Jacob, thinking, okay, I hate both of these teams. I don't really care who wins as long as Freddie Freeman has some success.
Yeah.
And I would say some success is a little bit of an understatement. That dude was on fire, man.
Yes. Gosh, I mean, we've never seen anything like that. And you're right. Freddie's one of the greatest human beings that we have, not only in sports, but in the entire world. So loved his success. And look, I still would fight Jim Leyritz on site, and he would have to know why, because I'm a Braves fan. And so because of that, I think, the Dodgers winning is not as bad as if the Yankees would have won.
That is true, and I'm pretty sure Jim Leyritz ran into some trouble down the road in terms of the police. So
I'm just saying,
karma.
He would still know. Yeah, he would still know. Of course, Barrett and I both massive Atlanta Braves fans. And by the way, good work on the Braves this season. By the way,
thank you. Yeah. I appreciate it. It's been fun, dude. I tell you, I've been in locker rooms. I know you've been in locker rooms as well. But a baseball clubhouse is one of the coolest places you'll ever be. I mean, it is awesome.
Oh, completely different than anything you'll ever see, in a football locker. I remember.
Oh man.
When I was in San Diego, I'd never been in a big league, locker room, and we go out there. We're at the Padres Stadium. We're doing a Chargers day there, and the vibe was I was like, these guys, they're having fun and talking before the game. We're not allowed to do that. And then after the game, my man Brian Giles had just a big bucket of beers in his locker. He's passing them out. I'm like, wait a minute, hold on, we can't even whisper the word beer on our trips. What's going on here? Yeah, different vibe, Barrett, for sure.
Yeah, it's fun. It's fun. Actually, for media, they let you do your 20 minutes or whatever, and then they make you stop doing your job. But they'll let you stay. Like I watched the women's national championship game with Caitlin Clark with Michael Harris. Like I had to stop doing media stuff. We just were chilling in there watching TV.
Yeah, football coach is always so paranoid. You know, I know you got a lot of baseball games, so maybe you can't be as paranoid. But you think Kirby Smart would ever let you do that?
Oh God, no! The nuclear codes are in football locker rooms. Like you talk, there's a reason they call the nuclear suitcase a football, because they actually it's in football locker rooms.
That's actually a really great point. I'll steal that and I'll cite my work the first time.
There you go. You know what? It's free reign.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Barrett, so LSU's on a bye week, and so we've been talking a lot about like other games and other storylines, obviously this week, and because the Saints are awful as well, nobody wants to talk about that. And so we've talked a lot of Big Ten today. We've talked about, Ohio State, Penn State. We talked about Indiana, Michigan, and Oregon. But I wanted to have you on. Let's get back into the SEC conversation. And a game that we were just, kind of starting to preview a little bit before you came on, wanted to wait until you came on to really do a deep dive into it, was Texas A&M traveling to South Carolina. Now, Texas A&M, that was highly impressive last week. I was there. For them to come back in that game, highly impressive. But I'm just not sure that people realize how good and how close South Carolina is to being in the conversation as well.
Yeah, there's no doubt. And, it all starts up front with that defensive line. I don't care who you are. That defensive front is one of, if not the best in the nation.
Yeah.
I mean, it really is. And, I mean, it can change games in a snap. That's exactly what happened against Alabama. They had no shot against that defensive front. And, they had to scratch and claw because, poor Jalen Milroe had no time. I think he got sacked 9 times and probably could have been sacked 15. I mean, it was bad. And that the way Lenore Sellers plays, I think Shane has done a really good job of kind of spoon feeding him, slowly but surely different aspects of the offense and just not giving him too much. If he's in a slump, don't let him throw himself out of it. Just do something else for a little while. It's like the anti-Hugh Freeze, right?
Yeah.
He's perfectly fine letting Lenore Sellers kind of chill out and figure some things out and then kind of moving through, what he's doing well and what he's comfortable with. And, yeah, I mean, and trust, I mean, and Willie B, I mean, the Williams-Brice Stadium is one of the toughest places to play in the country. I know down there in Baton Rouge, like, well, LSU is the toughest. Well, yeah, but Williams-Brice Stadium is up
That's
there,
great,
man.
yeah.
And they're pumped about this. It's one thing to support your team when they're, average at best. This is a pretty good South Carolina team, and they're excited about the future. So it's tough. I think with A&M's quarterback situation, I don't know how you wouldn't start Marcel Reed. I don't know if you want to put Connor Wegman in there at all, but it is not going to be easy. I mean, it really isn't.
No, a couple things. Williams-Brice is fantastic, and I was just there for a noon kickoff, and it was still great, right? And this one's going to be under the lights. It's going to be even better. That will certainly play a factor into this game. And no, I can't see Connor Wigman playing because of what you said. Like South Carolina's defensive front is one of the best in the country. LSU was feasting on Connor Wigman. They were getting pressure to him consistently. It was one of the things why, he just continued to force the issue, didn't have a lot of time back there. I would be shocked if Marcel Reed's not the guy in this game. Now, South Carolina's going to know that going into it, so they're certainly going to have a plan for him, but it just feels like he gives them against this front a better opportunity to win.
Yeah, for sure. And, I mean, a running quarterback does a lot, right? Like Nick Saban hated running quarterbacks because it spread his defensive line out and made them unsure of what was going to happen. And, if you can just hold that defensive front, if you can hold that rush back just a split second, it's going to go a long way. I can't imagine Connor Wegman playing meaningful snaps ever again for Texas A&M. Now playing meaningful snaps for Florida State or for Auburn or for UCLA.
Right.
Okay, maybe, but I just don't see how you can trot him out there again.
No, I don't think so. And again, that's a great point by you. Certainly in a matchup like this that doesn't favor his skill set literally at all. All right, as we continue on down the road in the SEC, one of the most surprising lines, I think, across the country, the Auburn Tigers, who've been playing better, and even in their losses, they've had moments. They're a 7-point favorite against this Vanderbilt team. Is this, you think, Vegas is saying, all right, Vanderbilt has to be tired, right? They have run the gambit, all the energy they used against Texas last week at home, because this number surprised me.
See, it really didn't surprise me.
Okay.
Jordan Hare's tough, obviously.
It is.
But Auburn is the best bad football team I've ever seen. It is unbelievable how explosive they are offensively and how good they are defensively, and they still suck.
Yeah.
It's like, and at some point, and we saw this last week against Kentucky, they're just going to say, all right, screw it. We're not going to take many chances.
Right.
We're just going to go about our business. We're going to give Jarquez Hunter the rock and call it a day. And that's okay, right?
Yeah.
Like, again, sort of like we talked about with South Carolina. Hugh Freeze was hell-bent on making sure that Peyton Thorne threw himself out of slumps.
Yep.
And then finally he was like, all right, well, Peyton Thorne sucks. Let's just run the football.
Right.
Yeah. And now, like last week, they could have beaten Kentucky 50-0.
Right.
I mean, they really could have. And I said this, I even said this before Kentucky. I was like, Auburn's going to mess around and upset somebody. Yeah. They really are. And I know Diego Pavia, beat Auburn last year, and that's fine. I get it. I think it'll be relatively close. But I mean, I've said this all year. Like, Auburn is the best bad football team I've ever seen. And like, I know Auburn fans. I grew up an Auburn fan. My dad's an Auburn fan. All that stuff. It has been so frustrating. Even my 13-year-old's like, Dad, why do we suck? I'm like, dude.
Yeah. How long you got?
I got a lot of answers to that one.
Yeah. Oh, man. I mean, you watch some of the – I mean, the Oklahoma game was a masterclass on how to lose a football game. And so you are right. Yeah. They have certainly had opportunities. They got to put it all together because, look, Auburn's a place that has high expectations. I mean, I talk about it all the time. When I was in school, it was Florida 1 for me, but 2 was Auburn. And you knew it was going to be a dogfight. And my 4 years, the home team won the game every single time. And, like, that standard, I'm not telling anything you don't know. It is one of the highest in the country, and how it was going couldn't continue because they won't accept that.
No, they won't. They won't. I think this year, I think Hugh Freeze can point to like some success, no matter what happens down the stretch. He can say, "Look, like this is what we want to be, and we did it despite massive quarterback issues. I'm going to go get somebody. I'm going to go find somebody and not just be sort of stuck with a C-level transfer." And maybe that's the freshman Deuce Knight. I don't know, but I think he can sell the vision at this point, no matter what. But that doesn't mean next year is not going to be really, really sketchy because you have to take what you have now, the good of what you have now, and finish it off. And that's easier said than done, especially when you don't know who your quarterback is going to be, and you certainly are unhappy with the one you have now.
Moving on to a couple of different games. Actually, let's do this. Which one's more intriguing to you, Ole Miss at Arkansas or Florida, Georgia, and Jacksonville?
Florida, Georgia. I mean, look, I know everyone's still sort of on a high with Georgia after the Texas game, and it was great. It was great because of the Georgia front seven, and that's really it.
Yeah.
Because Carson Beck, 3 picks. He's thrown 7 picks or 8 picks over the last 4 games. They still can't run the football. I mean, ETN had the touchdown runs, but really they couldn't run the football against Texas. It's like, okay, all of the issues that we knew Georgia has weren't fixed against Texas. They just had an elite performance from the front seven. Whereas, if you're Florida, you had DJ Lagway and Billy Napier. They had success against Kentucky. They looked really, really good. Now they've got had a week off to sort of figure out what went right, what went wrong. Sort of get everybody comfortable with the new reality that DJ Lagway is the unquestioned dude. I just think that Florida's going to keep this close. I said this on my show today. Like, Billy Napier is coaching his way back into his job. If he can just sit here and say, all right, a 6-6 record this year, if I show you what what Lagway can do and sell you on this vision, then I'm going to keep my job and I'm going to build off of it. And I mean, look, if they fire Billy, Lagway's leaving too.
Yeah.
And so it's almost like the quarterback could save Billy's job. So if they're close against Georgia, if they're competitive down the stretch, he might keep his job, even if it's a 6-6 record. And so I'm fascinated with that game. And with Arkansas, and Ole Miss and Arkansas, I've done trying to figure out Arkansas. Ole Miss. I just
Well, either team,
I don't know
feel,
what
yeah.
you are.
Yeah. Right. I know. Gosh, I mean, speaking of I was going to ask a follow-up about Florida, but honestly, the expectation of this year for Ole Miss, they pushed every chip to the middle of the table. Like, this was the year. The 12-team playoff, we talked about two teams, Penn State and Ole Miss. And right now, Ole Miss still has big games in front of them. They got games where they're not going to be the favorites still on their schedule. I know the expectation's not like incredibly high all the time, but in this one singular season, it felt like it matched with some of the biggest expectations in the country. Like, how disappointed are Ole Miss fans, even if they go 9-3 and go to another bowl game and win a bowl game, get to 10 wins? Like, where do you think their mindset would be?
Yeah, disappointment, right? Like you said, they pushed all their chips in the middle of the table, and especially on offense, I don't know how you cannot be extremely disappointed with where they are.
Yeah.
Because I think everybody thought like 40 points a game. Like, that's just what they're going to be. And there have been times, like last week against Oklahoma is a perfect example. Like, you kind of want to shake them and be like, y'all, wake up. Like, I know you're not like this. And Kentucky was the same way. And that's not only do you put all your chips in the middle of the table, the problem, the thing that's holding you back is what Lane Kiffin's supposed to be great at.
Yeah.
So, I think it is frustrating, but you're right. Like, the 12-team playoff, built for a team like Penn State or Ole Miss where, they're always on the outside looking in, but barely, right? Like
Right.
last year with Ole Miss going to the Peach Bowl and playing Penn State, it's like,
Yeah.
okay, you guys are the perfect teams for this system. Take advantage of it. And they haven't, or Ole Miss hasn't, Penn State has. And it's got to be frustrating for Ole Miss fans. I still think they'll be fine this weekend, but that's only because I'm sort of programmed to think they'll be fine. Like, I feel like every week, like, okay, this is the one where they're going to break out, or this is the one where they're going to break out. It never seems to happen, but I'm falling into that trap again.
All right, fantastic stuff, as always, from our guy, Barrett Sallee. Again, you can catch his daily college football podcast, Smothered and Covered. You can check him out on the weekends there, College Sports Radio, Sirius XM, Channel 84. Also doing a great job writing over there at Outkick. Barrett, we appreciate your time, man.
My pleasure, Jacob. I'm reluctant or sadly, go Braves.
Yeah, hey, it's okay. We always end it with Go Braves, and so we're going to do it again today. Next year is already here because the World Series is over, Barrett.
Absolutely, and it's our year.
All right. The great Barrett Sallee, good enough to join us, man. Always a great time to catch up with him, and that's right. This year's the Braves' year. If they don't have 17 injuries, they keep their 17 best players out for the year. All right, we will step away. Chef Michael Johnson, when we return for Munchies, we still got Tay-Tay's NFL story of the day. Real quick, Alondra, before we go to break, All-Star Toyota of Baton Rouge, allstartoyotaofbatonrouge.com. Buying new, leasing, renting, everything is available for every single need that you have. So go check it out on the website. Again, 4Runner, Highlander, Sequoia, Sienna, Corolla, you name it, they've got it. New, lease, rent, allstartoyotaofbatonrouge.com. Chef Michael Johnson, when we come back here, OTB.
Off the bench.
All right, go to getgordon.com. Getgordon.com. That's Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys. And on that website that we give you every day, you can do a lot. You can check out cases that they can handle for you in the courtroom. You can find past client results of what they've done in the courtroom. You can actually have a chat right there with an online agent. As soon as you go to the homepage, it's going to pop up. So any question that you might have. You also can set up that free consultation right there on the homepage of the website. Now, if you want to see what they're doing in the community, remember they're always doing something here in Louisiana, not just here in Baton Rouge, but throughout the state. So you go to any major social media, at Get Gordon is always going to be the handle to see what they're doing in your community, see what they're doing with your favorite athletes throughout Louisiana. And as always, if you've got a question, you need more information, you pick up the phone. It's your area code in Louisiana, followed by 888-8888. Get Gordon and get it done.
The only thing scary about the deals at Bayou Ford is if you miss out on them, like $15,000 off F-150. Bayou Ford has $15,000 off Ford F-150. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a complimentary 7-year powertrain warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
You can't rely on technology. You can rely on Mountain Cold Refreshment. Dave's back on. Coors Light. Choose chill.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief. Our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
At Relief Windows, we're more than windows. We're windows, doors, hardy plank, and vinyl siding. But our #1 product is always customer satisfaction.
Welcome in to the best morning sports-ish show around. Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob.
All right, welcome back in. OTB on this Thursday afternoon. Bad habits, that's off campus. This is still the morning time, and it's around 9:15-ish. So Chef Michael Johnson joins us as he always does for Munchies. Chef, what's going on? How you doing?
Good, brother. How are you, Jake?
We're doing well. Our boy T-Bob is he's at Disney right now.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, must be nice during football season to go on vacation, Chef.
Well, I'm telling you, man. Yeah. We'll send our love.
Yeah. He
corn dogs.
Yeah. Well, he said he's not worried about the food. He's just worried about the Epcot beers.
That's fair.
Yeah,
Drinking your way around Epcot it tends to, there's a risk behind that for sure.
All right, hashtag Munchies. Popeyes or Cane's?
Oh, that's a tough one, man. I think it depends on. I'm just gonna go with Cane's. Popeyes. Like I love the spicy chicken Popeyes, but every other Popeyes I go to, I swear, I'm not gonna say which one, but I've been to several Popeyes over the past 2 years, and they didn't have any chicken.
Yeah.
So
we just said the same thing during the break. We were talking about it.
I don't know how a chicken place doesn't have chicken, man. But I sat in the driveway one day for like 45 minutes waiting for my order, and they're like, "Sorry, we don't have any chicken." And I don't know how you feel like you would feel about that,
Oof.
but I was something upset about it.
Yeah. I would whisper sweet nothing, chef. That's what I would do.
Yeah.
Hashtag munchies. I just got 40 pounds of fresh deer meat. How would chef recommend I cook the round steaks I'm having cut?
Yeah, round steak, I like that. Well, I've kind of said this before. Like, I like to blacken it, sear it off, and get that blackened flavor out of it, and then braise it. And I'll take a paring knife. What's up, dude? I'll take a paring knife and sliver garlic slivers down into the meat, and make little pockets of garlic and shallots in there, and then slow cook the heck out of it. You know, like you can even put it in a crock pot.
Yeah.
And do it that way. But the blackening, browning is absolutely important. You know, like you got to get that browning, blackening action on there to get a caramelization of the meat. I don't know. It's one of my favorite preparations for a cut of meat on a deer that has a lot of connective tissue. You got to cook it slow and low. Otherwise, it's going to, like it'll get tense and chewy, and you just don't want that. So.
Oof, that sounds fantastic. Chef, I was thinking about you last weekend. So I'm at a dinner, and it's a planned menu where you choose what you want from the menu, and it's time is of the essence, and so you get served pretty quickly, and it had what you ordered and the temperature also of what you ordered, and know me, like lean down and whisper heat to my steak, like and mine said my name, it said rare. And I'm looking around, and like next to me was medium well, and I think there might have been a well done. It was medium well, medium plus, and I felt some real judgment. I was like, wait a minute, hold up. I thought I was doing this the right way.
Yeah.
But I felt real judgment.
Yeah. Well, first of all, Jake, I have to say it's very nice that two men can say that they were thinking about each other. Yeah. I'm a rare guy, depending on what cut of steak it is, right? Like,
right.
If it's a filet mignon, I'm a rare guy.
Yeah, that's what it was.
I really, if it's a sirloin texture or a strip loin or something like that, I'm a medium guy. Like I like that warm red throughout. And it's got to be rested. Nothing upsets me more than rushing a steak fresh off the grill, and it's got brown edges, super dried out, and it hasn't had time to rest to pull that moisture from the center of the steak out to where it really, oh man, there's something beautiful about that. So,
yeah,
I don't care what anybody thinks about the food that I eat. You know what I mean? That's just a good, solid piece of advice. I'm not going to take any judgment off anybody that's eating medium well or well done for sure. So.
Yeah, look, if you like to eat hockey pucks, that's on you, not me. I don't care.
I mean, you're cooking the nutrients out of it. I mean, really.
Hashtag munchies. What's the best way to preserve a box of bell peppers that's stored in a typical restaurant stand-up cooler?
Pickle them. Like make a jam or a jelly and do something like that. I'm kind of confused if they're just putting them in the cooler to store them, or if they're been in the cooler. I'm not catching entirely at what's up, dude. But if I have something to do, if you're storing it in the cooler, you have ethylene gas producers and ethylene gas susceptible fruits, and most citrus and peppers and stuff like that, like tomatoes, they will produce ethylene gas, and so you want to keep them away from your leafy greens, because it will brown your leafy greens. It'll also turn your bananas and avocados quicker than you want them to, so keep them away from that kind of stuff. That's why your drawers in your refrigerator have breathing holes and close-off holes, so that that ethylene gas can either be captured in there or escape, one or the other. If you're talking about you have a whole box of peppers in your refrigerator and you need to preserve them, like pepper jellies and stuff like that, or even roasting them and doing like that, and what you don't want to do is preserve it in oil, because that can produce botulism. A lot of people like to flavor their oils and keep the vegetables in the oil, and that's a really dangerous deal. So, or pickling them, like pickled peppers are always good. Yeah.
Hashtag munchies. What are the essential spices every kitchen should have besides salt and pepper?
Cayenne, garlic, onion powder. Like in mine, we have gosh, and not just black pepper, not like the mesh of the pepper is important to me. Like we use 18 mesh pepper for seasoning, and then and whole peppercorns as well. You have you need to have both of those things. The table pepper I could do without. You can have that fine grained pepper. We don't use it in the kitchen for much of anything. I have an assortment of chili spice, of different types of chili peppers, ancho chili, paprika. We have Espelette. And I like to have variety in chili peppers. I'm a big chili spice guy. And the type of salt that you have, I think, matters. I don't use iodized table salt for anything. We use kosher salt for just about everything, and or some Himalayan sea salt. Himalayan sea salt's a little bougie, and it's a little expensive. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, if you can afford it, great. But we use kosher salt by and large.
Well, somebody was talking about that. It's like that or Celtic sea salt, and I was like, well, you know what? I don't know what really either one of those things are. So I'm a redneck, and just give me the pre-made salt and pepper shakers that you buy at the grocery store.
So a salt by nature is something that's produced from a chemical reaction, and that you can chemically make salt.
Right.
But some of the salt, the really good salts are literally salt of the earth. They're left behind from bodies of water, and they're full of nutrient and mineral. And that's like Celtic sea salt is some of that stuff. Baleen. Baleen has some pretty good salt. There's I'm brain farting on it starts with an M, but I can't remember.
You already said like 3 more than I've ever heard of, so you're doing well.
Yeah, well, there are definitely some sea salt companies out there that do it well. There's a couple of places off the West Coast that have flats out there that they mine the sea salt, and it's full of vitamins and minerals, which is it's beneficial to the human body if you're putting that salt into your body. Which is, for athletes, you got to have salt in the body to help retain moisture to prevent dehydration. But having those micronutrients and vitamins in there helps the body perform better as well. So that iodized salt just doesn't do a whole lot of that for me.
All right, caramel apples, yay or nay?
When I was 6, yay. When I'm 48, nay.
Like I'd have to go to the dentist anyways. Like if I, as a 39-year-old, if I bit into one of those puppies.
Yeah, right. I think it has to do with permanent and non-permanent teeth.
Yep. Yep. There's no doubt. And I've got 2 that are somewhere buried in the swamp in Gainesville, Florida, somewhere in the turf. And so all of mine right now are still suspect to come out in the caramel apple. So
yes, yeah. My parents used to give us apples if we had loose teeth when we were kids. Yeah, give them an apple; it'll come out. Yeah.
Hashtag Munchies go-to drink for a crawfish or a crab boil.
I just hearing you say it, I'm thinking like a wheat beer or something with maybe an orange peel in it that has a little bit of like citric acid, like a Hefeweizen. I love Belgian whites or wheat beers. It just kind of complements that fresh acidity from the beer. Kind of complements the spice of the boil.
Hashtag Munchies. As a butcher, how can I explain to people that a porterhouse and a T-bone are the same thing, just the porterhouse has inches more of the filet?
Brother, if I had the answer to that, the world would be a better place. You just can't underestimate. We do business with a company that, when people order pieces of cow, they think that they come with, like this like everything's going to be in ribeyes and strip loins. They don't understand that there's actually muscle tissues that are limited in supply, right? On certain parts, there's only 2 strip loins on a cow. So, that's a tough one. It's a matter of educating, and like I think you can put up signs, like educational posters to help that. I love to walk into a butcher shop where they have like the cuts of meat up there, even if it's rudimentary, that kind of helps explain, from a factual point of view, what those cuts are and where they come from on the cow. Man, there's people out there that don't know that a hamburger is beef that comes from a cow.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's an uphill battle, and what's up? How are you, dude? Good to see you. Sorry, that's my people.
Oh, good.
Yeah. So I take it. I kind of take that on because I deal with 18 to 25-year-olds, and you have to be ready and prepared to educate. And as frustrated as you get with it, I think maintaining patience in it is important, and when you hear every day as a butcher of, what is this, what is that, it does get frustrating. So I think, maybe having even a salesperson there that can, because butchers then are much like chefs, like they have a very specific job, and having somebody to absorb between you and the normal people that walk in every day, like the wait staff do in a restaurant, is important, because it kind of absorbs the stress of the kitchen or the knife or the back from the normalcy of the lay folk who walk in and don't know what the hell they're talking about. You know what I mean? And having somebody to absorb that, I think, is important. Or if you don't have that, just practicing patience. Because patience goes a long way. The tone of voice and how you approach people, whether they're going to listen to understand or listen to defend. That was a wordy version of my answer.
Fantastic answer as always. There he is, Chef Michael Johnson, good enough to join us every single week here to answer your munchy questions. Chef, we appreciate your time as always. We'll catch up again with you next week.
Take care, guys.
All right, you as well. All right, before we go to this break, remember T-Bop is out of town, so Central Plumbing's not going to be at his house for the first time in a long time, so they can be at your house. Now, we're joking. They can always be at your house 24/7, 365. Weekend, holiday, game day, does not matter. 225-925-8552 is that number, and always online at centralplumbing.org. Not only in emergencies, if you're looking to upgrade at your home, at your business, if you want to remodel, if you want to go tankless with a tankless water heater, go to the website today, centralplumbing.org. All right, we'll step away, and when we come back, it is time for Tay-Tay's NFL story of the day here on OTB.
Off the bench.
All right, go to the brand new Queen of Baton Rouge. And we say brand new because if you haven't been since they upgraded and they redid the entire place, you are missing out. I mean, this thing is incredible. And that's not lip service. I promise you, if you go there, you will be blown away. Certainly if you remember what it was to what it is now. Everything in this place is brand new, state-of-the-art, including the DraftKings Sportsbook. It is your ultimate football destination. Tonight, Thursday night football, right? You're going to have college games tomorrow night. You're going to have college all day Saturday, NFL Sunday, NFL Monday. Like, you can go post up there and do nothing but watch football, incredible screens, bar backs right up to the DraftKings Sportsbook. Man, we'll be there on next Thursday night for primetime football. We hope you join us. TheQueenBR.com.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram can get you in a new 2024 Ram 1500 truck for only $32,898. $32,898 for a new Ram 1500 truck. All new Bayou Automotive vehicles come with a complimentary 7-year powertrain warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
At Atmos Energy, our Smart Choice solutions help customers save energy and emissions with rebates up to $500 off high-efficiency natural gas appliances, smart thermostats, and weatherization upgrades. Together, we're fueling our energy future.
Join us at Pro Dreams in Mandeville for our special event, A Day of Champions. Meet LSU National Championship winning head coaches Jay Johnson, Skip Bertman, and Paul Maneri. Don't miss your chance to purchase authentic sports memorabilia, autographed by the champions themselves. It's the perfect opportunity to celebrate LSU baseball and take home a piece of history. Visit pro-dreams.com to get your tickets. See you there.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial properties. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50.
Yo, I ain't seen you in a minute, but I got something to tell you. Listen, see the thing about you that caught my eye.
Welcome back to the 9th-ranked morning sports show in America. Off the bench.
Kinda hard to explain, but girl, I'll try. You need to sit down, this may take a while. See this girl, she sorta looks just like you. She even smiles just the way you do. So innocent she seemed, but I was smooth. I'm reminded when I look at you, but you remind me of a girl that I once knew. See your face when
All right, welcome back in. I warned y'all. I guess that thing was going to breathe. OTB 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Usher Raymond, shout out. All right, let's get depressed. Tay-Tay's NFL story of the day.
It's time for Tay-Tay's NFL story of the day. Your daily dose of NFL news from Taylor Sharp.
Jake, I think I know the answer to this, but did you ever have a run-in with a reporter when you were in the NFL?
Run-in. No.
I didn't think so. Trayvon Diggs did. You probably saw it. It was a reporter post-game asked him, hey, you know, when George Kittle caught that ball in the fourth quarter, it didn't look like you were giving the fullest of effort that you could possibly get. And Trayvon Diggs goes on a rant and says, that's what you got from that. Out of that whole play, that's the only thing you're able to see. You clearly don't know football. You can't get out there and do what I do, so stay in your lane, buddy. And then the reporter was like, I'd be more than happy for you to talk about it, when Trayvon Diggs responds with the age-old line, talk about these nuts. Because, of course, he did. Well, Trayvon Diggs has issued an apology, but I got to be honest, Jake, as a fan of this team, it actually makes me feel a little bit worse. He said, you know, when it comes to my play on the field, I'm not a Cam Chancellor or anything like that. But when it's my time to make a play, I try to do that to the best of my ability. Obviously, tackling is not a strength. It's probably a weakness in my game. It's not my superpower, but I can tackle if I have to. Please don't admit that in the public that tackling is not your strong suit. Because
that's real. It's not from the Onion.
Trayvon Diggs said he is not a Cam Chancellor-like player. Tackling is not his strong suit.
We're going to play the same position.
And it's not his superpower, but you know, covering hasn't been his superpower for the last year either, so not really sure what he's doing out there. But, yeah, he has now admitted that he's not a good tackler. So it wasn't the lack of effort. He's just not that good.
That's why he really said that.
Mm-hmm.
Oof.
Yes, and he actually called the reporter, apologized to him, and said I shouldn't have reacted the way that I did. You just called me at the wrong time. I was frustrated.
Trayvon Diggs, Dennis Allen. You're not supposed to say the quiet part out loud.
No.
You're not supposed to do that.
It's one. Okay, so if me as a running back, if I had a halfback pass and I threw a bad pass, that's not something I do all the time. That's not something that's in my job description, okay? Tackling's in your job description. You play defense. You ain't a receiver that missed a tackle on a pick six. You play defense. Your ass better be tackling out there. What do we know?
That'd be like you.
Sure, Cam Chancellor was a downhill, like, Legion of Boom leader. Yeah, but we're not asking you to be Cam Chancellor. We're just asking you to do your job.
Okay, if you the play we played, the scoop and score from you back when you were at the Chargers, if you would have gotten caught from behind and a reporter would have been like, well, and a reporter would have been like, man, you know, Jacob Hester kind of loafed on the end of that play. He slowed it down, and you'd have came out and been like, guys, look, like, I didn't loaf. I'm really not that good, and I'm not that fast. Like, what do you want me to do?
I would never say that. I'd be like, hey, look, you know, I hit the NOS button, and I kept pressing that some gun, and nothing was coming out, you know. All the NOS was out of the tank. That's what I'd have told him.
Too bad Trayvon didn't take your advice there, Jake, because
NOS in the tanks, though.
Now he is the trolling all over the NFL.
Yeah, that's bad. That is, again, it's not the main thing you do. Like, you're there to cover, but you're also there to tackle. Like, a running back is there to run, block, and catch. You have to do more than just the one thing. Even if you do the one thing at a very high level, you still got to do more than the one thing. That's not good. Oh, that seems like a long time
very
ago.
Appropriate, though.
Because remember, we were using that, talking about the Saints beating them. Both teams in a little bit different spot now, huh?
Yikes.
Gross. Disgusting. Dennis Allen. God. Baby cakes and weak chin.
He's an Aggie.
You know
that
what?
That should have been the red flag right there.
Often.
Yeah.
We really do.
We don't hone in on the fact that Dennis Allen is an Aggie enough.
The only person that gets a pass in that is Dan Campbell.
Agreed, 100%.
Nobody else gets a pass.
I've never met a grittier, or I've never met Dan Campbell, but I've never known a grittier Aggie than Dan Campbell.
No.
They didn't infect him.
They didn't. Anything else, Tay-Tay?
Lamar Jackson's sitting out because of back injury.
That's actually, he's probably leading MVP candidate, so feels like news. A back injury from like actual back or from carrying the team?
A little bit of both, I would imagine.
I'm kidding.
Right?
Derrick
Henry probably has back soreness too.
Yeah. I thought for sure like Macaulay Culkin dressed up as Joe Burrow was going to be your story of the day.
Yeah.
It was going to be the story tomorrow. Macaulay Culkin dressing up as Joe Burrow for Halloween.
You didn't hear
cool.
me
It's just I don't know why he put that out the day before Halloween. I would have put it out today.
Maybe he felt like it get lost in the sauce a little bit on actual Halloween, so let me go ahead and get a step in front of it.
Yeah, if anybody hasn't seen this, I'll pull up the picture real quick.
Sorry that I ruined your.
No,
I mean, look, there'll be another story. Do you think you can get it pulled up before we go to break?
Yeah, I got it right here.
I still see me. My big feet.
T-Bob doesn't have that problem.
Could never. I mean, you know, now that
I don't like it.
Macaulay Culkin's a little bit older than Joe is, it's hard to see it. You know, you go back to younger. So Macaulay Culkin's probably what, my age? Probably 39. Feels right.
He's probably older than you.
Let's Google.
He looks older than you. I mean, that's what Joe Burrow is going to look like if he plays behind this offensive
44.
line for a few more years.
Macaulay Culkin's 44?
Yeah.
Oh, look at me winning. I thought we were the same age. I feel better about myself now. I never really saw it like everybody else. Just like I never thought Flynn looked like Matt Damon.
No, Flynn does not look like Matt Damon.
That was
at
young.
all.
That
young
was the
Flynn a little bit. I remember that y'all
that
senior
was the
year.
Big
That was the
thing
talk.
our senior year. Yeah.
I don't even think like younger Matt, either of the two look like either of them.
Yeah. I mean, you're the expert on all things Joe Burrow here, Alondra.
I don't like
so
it.
So I'm going to fall back to you.
Not a fan.
Yeah.
I think that like you said, maybe when Macaulay was a little younger, he did look like Joe a little bit, but I don't see it as much as everybody else does.
Oh, there's Flynn and Matt Damon.
Let me see.
What do we think?
I guess the side by side.
The eyes are similar.
Oh, by the way, Flynn,
not-
you bum. You can't come to OTB, but you can coach flag football.
Wow.
Yeah. And then I said, let's go Team Flynn. Like I yelled across. I wasn't even going to, he goes, what's up, bud? Bud.
Not Bud.
Memphis, my 8-year-old said, why'd he call you Bud? I said, I don't know. Probably because he's embarrassed because he didn't show up to work.
Yeah.
No grit.
None.
Got 2 blitzed at the Taylor Swift concert, I guess.
Hey, I got blitzed last night. I'm here. You know what I mean? Like,
That's right.
Come
All right.
on.
Yeah, we got to go to break. You're lucky, Flynn, you bum. More OTB. Close out. Hour number 3.
Off the bench.
All right, go to iticollege.edu, iticollege.edu. That is the website to see the incredible campus and all the things that they offer over at ITI. Now, you can go, to the admissions page on the website. You can go to the programs that they offer right there on the website. You can apply right then and there on the website. Now, one thing we always want to make sure that we do is encourage you to go check out the campus. It is on Airline Highway right here in Baton Rouge. Now, you'll get an idea of what that campus looks like right there on the homepage, but you can schedule your campus tour today. Go see for yourself. It is set up for your success, and there's so many different programs, so many different options for you over at ITI. But if you get a chance, you go walk the campus and you see for yourself. You'll be able to see exactly what the classrooms look like, how you're going to be learning, where you're going to be learning. And again, it is set up for your success. iticollege.edu.
When it comes to ending cancer, we push forward, always working together for you. That's why our cancer experts at Ochsner have clinically integrated with MD Anderson Cancer Center. This means advanced cancer care, including access to life-saving clinical trials and integrating care to treat the whole you. Introducing Ochsner MD Anderson Cancer Center. Long live you.
At Relief Windows, we're more than windows. We're windows, doors, hardy plank, and vinyl siding. But our number one product is always customer satisfaction. Visit us online at reliefwindows.com. Oh, by the way, we do shutters too.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never
Sports talk? Maybe. Off the bench.
You can keep this going in the background, Alondra. Go to ColemanRoof.com. ColemanRoof.com, the true one-stop shop for all your roofing and construction needs, commercial, residential. You'll see on the homepage exactly what we're talking about. ColemanRoof.com. All right, welcome back in. It is OTB. It is time now for Ask the Bench, brought to you by coworkers like Vizzy, Hard Seltzer, Blue Moon, Light Sky, Citrus Sweet. Ask the Bench, what was your best Halloween costume?
Jason.
The party you showed up to and nobody else was. Alondra, that story hurts me.
No, I told y'all another one during the break. It's typical of me. Like, just embarrassing.
I would have been so mad at every other swinging soul in that place.
Well, why didn't y'all dress up?
Yeah, you bums. Like, everybody dresses
It was
up
a
for Halloween.
contest, yeah.
I hate that.
But yeah, that's probably the best one.
Yeah, it's good. You showed us.
Last year's was good. The doll from Saw with the head trap. That was a good one. A few years ago, shout out Get Gordon. I was Gordon McKernan. Victoria was an 18-wheeler. That was a good one.
Yeah, it was a good one. Saw pictures of that one as well. I mean, so I kind of had a little bit of the same, not even close to the same situation. I'll see if I can get this in. So I think it was last year, 2 years ago, we went trick-or-treating in U Club, and like the kids were all dressed up. So I was like, dress up. So I had full Everton kit, Wayne Rooney, socks included. Socks included and cleats, not spikes, but indoor cleats, shorts, everything. And I get there, and all these dads in their Yeti cups were just sitting there in their normal clothes. I'm like, the hell? You bums? Dress up for your kids. What are we doing? Wayne Rooney's out here. You can be out here too. See ya. I'll see you Monday. Tay will see you tomorrow at Alondra.
Off the bench.
All right, go to AccuTempBR.com. AccuTempBR.com. Schedule that appointment today. I mean, look, it's not that hard. Your kids dressed up. Like, they're going to enjoy it. Everybody's going to love it. Don't try to be too cool. Just have some fun. AccuTempBR.com, where they always stay cool. Unless they need to heat up, and they can also do that because they can, AC, heater, the whole deal. Now's the time of year we tell you about where it's AC, heater AC. You go back and forth, and if your system is not working like it's supposed to, or you hadn't had the proper maintenance, well, you could shock the system. And the last thing that you want it to do is to shut down on you. So have them come out, have them check your system, make sure that it is ready for that time of year. You can be a part of the Star membership as well, like T-Bob and I, and you can have them come out multiple times a year. It's another great service that they offer over at AccuTemp. That's AccuTempBR.com.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
The best kept secret in town is out. Discover Tallulah at the Renaissance Hotel on Bluebonnet.